on their feet. The final race of the first round of the playoffs underway from Bristol. Chase Elliott in the 9 trying to make that outside line work early. He gets by the 11 of Denny Hamlin. Hamlin now under pressure for losing even third as Joey Logano looks to his outside.
We saw last night in the Xfinity race, a lot of guys run on the bottom of the racetrack, but that outside did start working later in the race as they wore out the compound in that bottom groove. I think throughout this race, being so long and these cars being a little bit different is going to work up the racetrack. Going to see some guys maybe even against the fence before the night's over with.
Chase Elliott's closed the gap now inside of car length for the lead. A little bobble there. Exiting turn 4, Chase Elliott loses some ground.
Yeah, Chase got really loose. 3/4 of the way around the corner. Taking good momentum on Truex, but just lost the back of his car.
And right now, the majority of the field right on the bottom. I don't think anybody really is making anything happen outside of that bottom groove. The lead's tightening up there. Interesting to see Truex a little bit up the track. The 9 car right on the bottom. He's going to look to the inside here into turn 3.
Truex looks loose also. Back of his car is wiggling around, moving around.
Chase Elliott nose out front, and he will be leading at Bristol now. So Martin Truex Jr. falls back to second.
Martin cannot keep that car on the bottom of the racetrack. And he has fallen quickly into the clutches of this 11 car, his teammate Denny Hamlin.
Christopher Bell, Brad Keselowski got underneath him. Kyle Larson got underneath him. Now Kevin Harvick's trying to get underneath him. Stuck on that outside. Sees a hole, immediately falls in behind Harvick.
Guys, we talk about tracks that are similar to other tracks. The struggle with Bristol, there's nothing. You know, Dover may be a bigger version of it, but nothing really matches this place. So with no practice and now no spring race on the concrete surface, I think this is one of the bigger wild cards if I'm a crew chief, as far as what does my car need, what kind of setup, how far back do I go in the notes, Jeff? There's just not a lot of information or other tracks you can use to prepare for this.
Steve, I think that's a great point, and I also will tell you that you could come here and win and then come back the next race and run 15. This racetrack changes so much from one race to the next. Listen to Brad Keselowski.
Good work, man. So far, this is the best Bristol car I think I've ever had.
I'd be nervous at lap 11. My car never drove the same at lap 400.
Yeah, unless you were the 2 car and how they've ran this year, I think you got to be glad to hear anything positive about the balance of that race car.
Brad Keselowski, 8 playoff points and a win coming into these playoffs. That win was at Talladega. It's been announced he will head up to, as we see the 11, Denny Hamlin getting by Martin Truex Jr. He'll head to ownership and drive for Roush Fenway Racing next year as Joey Logano puts a little pressure on Martin Truex Jr. here.
Yeah, a little contact there. Logano's going to try to pin Truex behind the lap car, James Davidson. 4 cars trying to pin Martin behind this lap car. Larson's going to allow him to get in the line here. That's how quickly things happen. Lap traffic already playing a factor.
Truex pushing the issue a little bit, and Larson giving him some slack, cutting him a little bit of slack. Now let's see if Truex will return the favor.
He cannot keep that car on the bottom. He's making it difficult for the 5 of Larson to get around here, but that is, he probably would prefer to be able to run that bottom groove, but that car just either is too loose or too tight to stay down there.
The problem he's got, even if he wants to cut Kyle Larson a break, is there's a train of cars, and he could lose not only the spot to Larson, but the spot to Brad, the spot to Harvick. He knows that. He wanted to push as hard as he could, but just does not have the car to do it right now.
Trying to stay ahead of Harvick, but he battles to the outside. There's a pretty good gap between Harvick and the 20 of Christopher Bell. More on the playoff driver, Tyler Reddick. Marty.
The hopes of Richard Childress Racing, Rick, ride with Tyler Reddick tonight, sitting in the 17th position. And even before the green flag came out this evening, another layer of complication added to the 8-team mix tonight. Listen on the radio.
I can hear you just fine. I can't hear Randall at all. I'm getting nothing, really. I'm getting every third word.
Don't panic, all good. He said the fastest section was towards the end of the front stretch section.
So that was Derek Nealon, the spotter, talking to Tyler Reddick. Tyler saying he cannot hear his crew chief at all, who is Randall Burnett. They had the same problem at RCR yesterday in the Xfinity Series race with Maya Snyder. So, Steve, you don't want to add a layer of complication to things tonight when communication is, A, quick and very critical here at Bristol.
Well, the good thing is this is one of those tracks I would try to communicate through the spotter as well. It's almost like speedway racing. There's no good time to talk to your driver, just no breaks around the short track.
No breaks. Chase Elliott out front. Denny Hamlin running in that second spot.
Grab an ice cold Coke and buckle up. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
And right now, Denny Hamlin chasing after that 9 of Elliott. It's about 3 car lengths and closing. Hamlin has been so strong and been able to get out front, lead so many races. He's led the last 8 races, trying to make it 9 in a row. But he's going to have to get by Chase Elliott before the competition caution comes out, which is inside of about 10 laps.
Last couple of corners, the 9 cars pulled away from Denny just a little bit. Denny's moving around, driving on the bottom a couple corners. He'll run the high side 3 and 4, trying to find time.
Had a conversation with Kurt Busch this morning. Kurt told me around lap 60, 70, 80, he believes the top lane will move up. Speaking of Kurt, we've been watching him, Junior. He's struggling.
Yeah, he's going to get saved by this comp yellow at lap 40. Let's listen to some radio on this one car.
Killer loose, really loose. You can touch it. We're loose everywhere. You step back the gas, it'll just kind of click towards the tight side. Really awkward with the right side grip. Left front's touching on low air.
A lot of information there, a lot of detail in what he's telling the team. And he's about a straightaway ahead of the leader here in lap traffic.
Yeah, so he's loose on entry. He's loose in the middle of the corner, all that section of the corner. As soon as he touches the throttle, he says it feels like the front doesn't turn. He said it drags on low air. That's the splitter dragging the racetrack. Marty.
And Kurt has since come on the radio saying that the looseness on exit is getting worse the longer he runs. So, Junior, I think you had it right. This cop caution coming up in a few laps is going to save that one car. He's losing more spots even.
Yeah, they just hope that they can get in there and make the right adjustments. It's so hard to make adjustments on this racetrack, especially with the compound on the bottom and the track just having such variable grip. Dave, what you got on the 19 car?
Yeah, he's under pressure now from William Byron for that 10th position. Remember, Truex started on the pole, first position for him. So that car way too free to run the bottom, needs grip from the center off. And it's funny, when I asked James Small, his crew chief today, what they were shooting for tonight, you know, the win would be obvious, right? He said, I just want to finish a race without a loose wheel. We must have had one for the last 7 races. Fortunately, they got by at Richmond, won that race, and he's through to the next round, but right now needs an adjustment.
Oh, the leader goes 3 wide. Man, that is tight.
And right there, the 11 of Denny Hamlin all over his back bumper. Now he looks to the outside. Chris Buescher in the 17 in front of Hamlin. That'll hold him up as Chase Elliott clears him. And there's the caution coming out, the competition caution scheduled.
That update by by Dave, about Martin Truex Jr. and the loose wheels. This is a track that comes to mind, just the loading. You know, if you do have a wheel that's questionable, they would perhaps come loose here more so than perhaps a Martinsville or a New Hampshire, somewhere that's flat. That banking and all that load will definitely work those wheels.
Well, NASCAR Drive, that's your live race day companion. You can follow your favorite drivers with that high-definition in-car camera, or you can select an alternate camera angle if you want to see more action. Just visit NASCAR.com/drive or download the NASCAR mobile app today. All right, Steve, 10 sets of tires for these guys. Every time they come to pit road, they're going to want to put them on?
Well, when you come to pit road, you do. The question is, how many times do you come to pit road? We will see them more often than the Xfinity cars, who only had really 3 sets to put on during the race. But tires weren't huge in either the Xfinity or the Truck Series. So maybe tires here early. But as the race continues on, I do believe you're going to see some strategy. Some guys stay out at different times. And we talked about loose wheels and the mistakes there. Another thing we're going to have to talk about, Jeff, you talked about it at the top of the show, the 2 different pit roads and how time is calculated in speed. That corner gets a lot of drivers as they go around that corner. Bristol averages 12 speeding penalties. So that is a ton of mistakes. Playoff guys cannot afford that.
A year ago, there were 21 speeding penalties. So I mean,
that'll help the average.
I mean, it's crazy. So yeah, they got to be cautious here. You don't want to get yourself put in the back early.
Well, and the problem is you also just can't ride around 2 miles an hour off the pace. Like, that's what I think the fans don't understand. Why is my guy speeding? Well, if you don't take in every aspect, you just won't be there. I mean, everyone else is trying to take advantage of everything.
Yeah, if you go a mile an hour or half a mile an hour slower, that's a car length, 2 car lengths by the time you have visited this entire pit road.
Here they come onto pit road, the 9 and 11 leading the crew. Dylan.
We'll go back to the 17th position, Michael McDowell, who, of course, in the playoffs with the most work to do of anybody coming into tonight. He'll hit his marks. Just said that he's building a little bit too tight right now. Needs help turning in the center of the corner. He'll change tires at Sunoco Fuel to the 34 and a chassis adjustment, Marty.
Dylan, we're going to keep our eyes on the drivers around the cut line. You see Kurt Busch, middle of your screen, hitting his stall. They're certainly going to work on that loose-off condition, especially. Same for Alex Bowman, a little bit too free for that 48 car. In fact, all the drivers, I don't care if you're around the cut line or in the playoffs in the next round, screaming, car way too free. Front stretch pits out of the 8 car of Tyler Reddick, hits his stall, his car too free as well, and they are communicating through the spotter to make sure that that communication from the crew chief to the driver happens, Dave.
Opposite land for William Byron and Eric Almirola. Byron too tight, 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel. Almirola too loose, same thing, tires and fuel.
Busy pit road, and the top 5 all hold their spots. The 2022 Ford Mustang Mach-E GT Performance Edition could be yours. Enter for your chance to win this high-performance Ford. Plus, get an entry for an instant prize, a $100 gift card during tonight's race. Go to NASCAR.com/Ford Playoffs promo right now if you want to enter. It's NASCAR Cup Series playoffs from Bristol. This telecast presented by Applebee's. What a gorgeous sight looking down at the last great Coliseum, Bristol Motor Speedway. Drivers going to be lining up 2 by 2 here. Want to listen in to Joey Logano's radio on his pit stop.
There's an issue there with the brake cooling duct or something there on the rear caliper. You're having issues getting that tire on. Happy. Is my cooling going to be messed up, or are we okay? You'll be all right.
And the situation is, as Paul Wolfe looks on, Steve, the hose on the right rear caliper came loose somehow, and when they went to put the right rear tire on, they couldn't get the right rear on. So Joey Logano went from 3rd to 22nd, and now they're worried it might be an issue for the rest of the night on their stops.
Bad for pit stops. I think the brakes will survive, Rick, but it will affect the handling. If one corner overheats, the brake balance is going to really change. The tire can inflate more than the others, so we'll see if that affects the 22.
On the gas first, Chase Elliott in the 9 and Kyle Larson up here. So Hendrick Motorsports now replacing Joe Gibbs on that front row.
I think Kevin Harvick back there in the 4th car, that green number 4 on the bottom subway scheme on that car this week. He's the surprise for my round 1 so far. This is a car I wasn't sure had the speed to advance, but they have just ground their way through the first 2 races. And while there's no guarantees, they currently are, well, I'll call it safely. I don't want to say safely 50 laps into Bristol, but at this moment, they're safely above the cut line.
Yeah, 51 points above the cut line right now for Kevin Harvick and that number 4 team. And they've had success here at Bristol, so it wouldn't be out of the ordinary to see Kevin Harvick run up front, potentially win this race. Dylan.
Well, you know, Rick, they certainly have admitted that they're better on these 750 horsepower tracks like this one, like Richmond, like Darlington. But the biggest thing that Kevin said, even pre-race, was just the thing they've struggled with is unloading in the right way, unloading with the correct balance. So that's always their concern, and you never really know until you get out there and drive it. I think the balance is pretty good right now, though, for Harvick. He runs inside the top 5.
His last win actually came here last year. Remember, he was 9 wins into the season and wasn't able to get it into the championship 4, but now winless in 2021. As we see again, the lead heating up here between teammates Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson. A little bobble there by Larson now, who's lost some ground.
Yeah, Larson was catching the duo of Chase Elliott and Denny Hamlin before the comp yellow. So he's got great long run speed, just a little bit edgy right now as you see the car on the new tire. Denny's going to try to take advantage of that. Get right up to the back bumper. Try to make that car even looser, more difficult to drive.
Denny showed right there, Larson, that he wanted the bottom. He turned early. Let's just kind of try to get in that A-post mirror of Kyle Larson, saying, I want this spot. Sending a signal without touching him.
He's right underneath him now. Great move by Denny down into turn 3. Larson's got up the racetrack. Will he race him? No, he's going to let him have the spot. Marty, what you got on the 11?
Boy, this is what's great about Bristol, right? Junior just racing and battling for spots all over the racetrack. Denny Hamlin's one request of Chris Gabehart, we need more speed on the front end of the run. He said, I knew I was going to catch Chase Elliott had we had more laps before the comp caution came out. So this is what he wanted. Speed on the front end. Looks like Gabehart's giving it to him.
Looks like to me, Denny's car is much more stable than the other Gibbs Toyotas. Seems like the other Gibbs Toyotas, we see the battle for 8th between 2 of the teammates. Just see the back of the car moving around a lot. They don't have the stability that Hamlin has at this point in the race, but this racetrack will change a ton. I'd rather be too loose right now than too tight.
Kyle Busch moving around the racetrack. That means he's definitely not happy with the way that car is handling on the bottom. Trying to find a little bit of speed and pace moving around. Now he's back to the bottom of the racetrack.
I love this shot off the rear bumper, watching the nose of this 19. So many racetracks we go to, Rick, you know, the splitter never leaves. It looks like it's basically mounted to the racetrack. Well, if you look back right there, pops up, you know, 1.5 inches, 2 inches at start-finish line. It's hard to see as Kyle Busch puts a good set of corners together. Is actually pulling away from the 19 right here.
Yeah, the battle for that 8th spot, not as big a battle anymore, as Kyle Larson has caught back up to the 11.
Yeah, it seems like it just takes a few laps for Kyle's car to come in. where he has the grip and can lean on that car a little bit, lean on the right side tires. Denny also was moving around, experimenting just a little bit with his line.
And once again, they've caught up to lap traffic as they're working their way around David Starr in the 66, the Houston, Texas native.
Lap traffic right in front of Chase is going to cost him a little bit of speed right here on the corner exit. You see the 11 car close the gap just a little bit.
You'll see this all night long, and as this race goes on and we really get to the point where it's toward the end of the stage or toward the end of the race and they catch those lap cars, it's going to be very aggressive. It's an opportunity to make a pass.
You get frustrated with the lap cars. They're out there and they're just trying to stay out of the way and give you the best opportunity you can, but you get frustrated with them when you catch them and you're passing them on corner exit, because you can't finish the throttle. You can't mash the gas and accelerate down the straightaway. It kills the entire straightaway speed, and the guy behind you is going to run you down.
Josh Bilicki gets out of the way there, moves up high. Is that where you want the guys to go? Do you want them to go up high and let you take that low line?
Yeah, while the bottom's the preferred groove, you definitely want all the bottom groove when you're catching these lap guys. Well, if we move the racetrack up, then you want that to change. You want them to be aware.
I was laughing because I knew his answer. Well, yeah, I want the bottom now, but not all night.
Yeah.
I want the top later.
So Chase sees this lap car in front of him running the bottom, and Chase anticipated that and said, all right, I'm going to go to the top here. He probably didn't prefer that, but that was what he had to do in that certain situation. So sometimes the driver has to make the decision and not wait on the lap car to go where he wants him to go.
Way up the racetrack is Kyle Larson now.
Larson got really loose getting in the corner.
So it's still Chase Elliott out front, Hamlin, Larson giving chase. Looking down on Thunder Valley, the aerial coverage tonight brought to you by Geico. That's a great shot of these two up front right now with Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson. And Larson had gotten right to the back bumper of Chase Elliott, but had a little issue. Had to chase the car up the racetrack again.
Yeah, lost some ground. Another car that lost some ground at pit stop, 22 Logano. He's still back at 22nd, hasn't gone anywhere. Why this matters is because the 9 and the 5 are setting such a good pace. I mean, he's over a half a lap down already, so with 48 laps to go, this is going to be a long first stage if he can't catch a break.
And it's so hard to pass, Steve. You know, you get back in the pack, and there's just one groove on the bottom. There's just nowhere to go. You have to be so much faster. See Kyle Larson continuing to have issues on corner entry. Dylan, what do you have on Kyle?
Well, guys, keep in mind, he hasn't raced here on the concrete track in a year. Didn't race at all here last year. So ask Cliff Daniels what the process was just for getting Kyle back up to speed. Obviously, he's a super talent, so does a lot of it is on his own. But they've got a system that allows Kyle to get comfortable much quicker than normal. And he's obviously gifted at adapting to whatever circumstance comes at him. But the team prepared him well to jump in this car with no practice and get right back up to speed. He's doing it so far, Marty.
Hey, Dylan, to the point the guys in the booth were making a moment ago about Joey Logano and Kurt Busch. On the last restart, Kurt Busch restarted 21st. He's in 21st. Logano restarted 23rd. He's in 22nd. And Steve, I would think that sends a signal to every other crew chief on pit road right now. You better not lose your track position tonight, because if you get in the back of the field, it's going to be next to impossible to get back up through it.
Don't lose your track position, and how hard or how much will you gamble to get it? Will there be an opportunity with a timely caution where maybe you don't think you need tires, or you only take 2 tires to get some track positions? Here we go. The 5 of Larson's going to have some momentum underneath the 9. The 9's going to get trapped behind that lap car.
And look at the 11 also coming in here as Larson now has the lead. Denny Hamlin sees an opening. He tries to stick it underneath the 9 of Chase Elliott, and a little contact made as Hamlin takes second away from Chase Elliott.
Yeah, a little bit of damage to the quarter panel on the 11 car.
Pretty aggressive move by Hamlin right there. That was good. He was making it 3 wide.
Way up the racetrack Hamlin goes, but he still has a spot. Take another look.
Doesn't look like too much damage.
40 laps still to go in stage 1. William Byron way up the track in the 24. Now 2 distinct lines being run here.
Yeah, this group right here has been moving around the racetrack a lot, trying to get around each other. Everybody on the bottom for the most part in 1 and 2. But in 3 and 4, we saw it last night in Xfinity race. A lot of guys getting up the racetrack here and taking advantage of great runs on corner exit. You see Brad Keselowski on the inside of David Starr way ahead in that orange car. That's slowing that 2 car down. All these guys are moving around trying to create runs to be able to catch guys in bad situations around lap traffic. Harvick to the top of the racetrack is going to be pinned behind this 12 car. He's going to lose a spot to Blaney. Might lose a spot to the 24. Denny Hamlin closing in on the leader of Larson down the back straightaway.
We saw Kyle Busch have to check up there as William Byron right in front of him. So Hamlin has closed the gap now on Larson.
That's going to be the interesting situation right now as this racetrack starts to develop 2 grooves. Where does the lap cars go? They know right now at the start of the race to stay out of the way to go to the top. But if somebody's using the top, Denny Hamlin taking that top and that momentum to go around Kyle Larson. Now where does the lap traffic go?
He gets up in front of the 7, but Denny Hamlin now in front of Kyle Larson. He stays up high. Will he be able to clear Corey LaJoie in the 7?
Larson to the bottom. He's going to try to pin LaJoie. They're going to go 3 wide here. The 11 loses a little bit of grip, gets loose. Larson can't get in the gas and accelerate off the corner.
To your point, I don't think the 7 knows which lane he wants to be in.
Well, it switched. The track is switched. It's like a light switch. It just switched. You could see it all of a sudden happen. Running the top, all of a sudden got fast in the last 10 laps. So the 7 of Corey LaJoie, he's making good lap time up there. I mean, he's not running all that slow. That's where his car was the best, so that's just where he went.
So now will Larson search around and come up off the bottom of the racetrack to try to find some pace to be able to track the 11 car down. See them both go to the top of the racetrack here in 3 and 4.
And that doesn't surprise me, Junior, that 3 and 4, the top comes in quicker in 3 and 4 than it does in 1 and 2. As Larson goes to the top in 1 and 2.
Well, you know he's really good at running the high line and understands how to open up the corner to make that work.
Hamlin pulling away now. Hamlin, 680 laps led on short tracks this year, and he's adding to that number now.
And you said about how quickly it changed, bottom to top. Kyle Larson, it's visual how much more speed they were comfortably carrying through the middle of the corner, now running up 1 groove. The 11's going to go up there and try to get around Suarez. The 5 goes to the bottom, but right here on corner exit, that 11 just drives off the top of the racetrack.
Yeah, this is the thing. You're going to have lap cars that are going to be all over the racetrack now, and the drivers are going to have to make the right decisions and choices on where to go.
Daniel Suarez in that 99.
Look at this.
The 11th driver to go a lap down. So 11 cars already a lap down to race leader Denny Hamlin. Kyle Larson giving chase as we go NASCAR nonstop. Go full throttle. Wi-Fi speeds worth celebrating. Fast internet for a faster everything. Can your internet do that? It's the Bass Pro Shops night race from Bristol Motor Speedway. Denny Hamlin out in front, has led 18 laps already. Larson running in that second spot, and a driver that was right on the cut line, currently running in the 13th position, Alex Bowman. Marty.
Yeah, Rick, you talked to a lot of these teams right at the cut line before this race started, and they said, number one, we have to get stage points, and if we have a clean race, we should be fine. But guess what? Right now, 3 of the drivers, left-hand side of your screen, that are below the cut line are not going to get stage points, nor will Alex Bowman. So yes, Steve, it's great to talk about those stage points, but you've got to get them. Only 10 spots available, and those awarded in 15 laps. It goes quick at Bristol.
Yeah, and Alex Bowman, at lap 80, he was in the 10th position. So, you know, he's lost those 3 spots, fell out of that top 10 where the points will be awarded in basically the last 20 or 30 laps. Dave, what do you have on Truex?
Martin Truex Jr. is kind of a victim of that cannot pass situation you guys were talking about. Only 1 spot made up from a big adjustment made on that first caution. By the way, you can pick out his car tonight. Beautiful teal with that orange and black. Thanks to Johnny Morris from Bass Pro Shops for giving Sherry Pollux a chance to put sherrystrong.org on that car tonight. Again, the fight is ovarian cancer. Everyone who is fighting it and learning about it. And don't forget, she gave the command to start engines tonight as her man works his way through traffic.
They had a great charity event on Wednesday, Catwalk for a Cause, bringing in some young cancer patients up there on the catwalk, having a great time, always thinking of others and raising money and awareness.
11 to go. 22 of Logano. He can see in his mirror now the 11 of Denny Hamlin, the leader. Kurt Busch and Logano have been battling to try to stay in the lead lap, stay in front of one another. But here comes Hamlin. How quickly can Hamlin get through traffic? We know he's faster than the 22, but can he get there? Oh man, 3 wide. He thinks better of it.
Yeah.
Joey Logano needs a few more laps like that where the 11 of Hamlin gets held up.
And there's so much traffic out here in front of him. That 53 of Josh Bilicki, he's been trouble. Ryan Newman in the 6. Always difficult to pass. Bubba Wallace in the 23.
All that right there may have saved Logano. He got through that lap traffic pretty well.
The 23 of Bubba Wallace just in front of Denny Hamlin. A new crew chief on that car this week. Booty Barker was named the crew chief. He worked at the team before in the engineering department. Mike Wheeler was competition director and crew chief. Now he's going to focus as they move to 2 cars as competition director.
Haven't heard that name in a long time. Booty Barker,
Yeah.
as far as being on top of the pit box. Great to see him.
Yeah, it really is good to see him back. Really good guy. South Boston, Virginia native.
Hey guys, 6 laps to go, and the lead heating up here. Kyle Larson has caught up with the 11 of Denny Hamlin, and they have caught the back bumper of Bubba Wallace.
You can see the preferred line now around the top of the racetrack. Everyone fighting for the top. You think, guys, that older tires, or you think that just the sticky stuff they apply to the bottom is starting to wear off?
Yeah, well, I think the sticky stuff wear it off, but also we saw all these fast cars lapping these slower cars. Those slower cars cleaned the top of the racetrack off. Now these faster cars can use it as Larson's using it to get around Hamlin on the outside.
Trying to go the high side, a playoff point on the line if you win the stage. And Larson now in front of Hamlin, but can he get by the lap traffic?
Yeah, Larson now has the same issue that Denny had, trying to get around the 23 car. Larson to the top of the racetrack, not going to be able to make a pass on the 23. The 11 trying to roll the bottom to get around the inside of this 5 car.
Under 3 laps to go. Denny Hamlin using the bottom of the racetrack. Now Larson checks up. He's right behind Wallace.
And Bubba Wallace, it is a big difference between being in the lead lap and the first car lap down when this caution comes out. He's not able to do it, though. Not able to keep Hamlin behind him.
Denny Hamlin back up front, under 2 laps to go. Now Larson to the bottom of the racetrack. He gets by Wallace.
Oh, slides up just in front of the 23.
1 lap to go. Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, and Logano trying to stay on the lead lap. Up high goes Larson. Can he make the high line work? Coming off of 4. Denny Hamlin is going to win stage 1. 4th stage win for Denny Hamlin, already in the playoffs. 9 times he's won a stage in 2021. Getting those valuable points, at least 1 point there. William Byron, who was below the cut line. And so Denny Hamlin gets the stage 1 win. Wondering, can Joe Gibbs Racing keep the roll going that they have had in the first 2 playoff races? Well, Denny Hamlin wins stage 1. NASCAR on NBCSN is brought to you by Ram Trucks, the only truck brand to win Motor Trend Truck of the Year 3 years in a row. Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR. Visit gocreditone.com. And by Applebee's. Help us crush childhood cancer. You can download the official app of NASCAR and follow the action with free live scoring, in-car cameras, and radio broadcast. Search NASCAR in your app store to download and start a free trial tonight. Stage 1 complete. Now, drivers that had issues on pit road, like Logano, like Kurt Busch, how do they resolve those? They were able to stay on the lead lap, but just barely. The crew's getting ready. We go down to Dillon.
We'll start our coverage with Michael McDowell here on the backside of pit road. Again, the driver with the most work to do in the playoffs. He's minus 42 right now. Report from him inside the cockpit, just building too tight, and the higher he moves up the racetrack, the tighter he gets, so they'll make an adjustment for that. Kyle Busch in the middle of your screen, similar report, just that he was tight center exit, and that he loses the nose of the car, and it washes up the racetrack. Made a chassis adjustment, 4 tires and fuel, Marty.
Another stage win for Denny Hamlin. You see him there on the backstretch, left-hand side of your screen. Alex Bowman finishing 14th in that stage, not getting the points they wanted. He said he felt like corner exit, he would just lose the nose of the car, and he had no right front grip in the tires, so they're going to try and free up Alex Bowman. Over on the front stretch side, you got Tyler Reddick in the 8 car. Reddick saying that his car, he said the last adjustment, it was a good adjustment for the bottom, but it hurt the top line. Go halfway back on that adjustment, Dave.
William Byron's group has sliding the tires all the way around as you see him leaving pit road. He got 1 stage point during that time. As far as the 10 of Eric Almirola, no stage points during there. They'll fix on that car.
Hamlin losing 3 spots on pit road. Larson, Elliott, Keselowski all leapfrogging it. You're watching the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. This telecast presented by Applebee's. Hey, Ruts, brought to you by Toyota. Where are you, Rut?
Rick, I'm down here at the 11 pit box, and Toyota Racing established the Dream Experiential Endowment in partnership with Bubba Wallace. Live to Be Different Foundation. And Kelly, a 16-year-old that you see there, high school student from Las Vegas, who aspires to become a crew chief. She was given the opportunity to meet with Denny Hamlin's crew chief, Chris Gabehart, and sit on the number 11 pit box at Darlington Raceway. And of course, join the team in victory lane. What an amazing experience. The full video of Kelly's experience is on Twitter at Toyota Racing. And it was so cool to see Denny here tonight with his kids. I know he understands the future, especially of females being a part of this sport. A really special thing tonight, guys.
What a great experience for Kelly to be able to be a part of that team and to get to victory lane. Marty.
Rick, on the last stop, a speeding penalty for Chase Elliott. He will give up second and go to the back of the field. Alan Gustafson trying to pump up his driver and remind him, hey, we got to be careful for the rest of the night. Listen.
Just take care of it here. Long night. Just can't throw it away. Yeah, copy that. Be patient. Take care of the car. Be smart. We got to get these. We'll work our way back through here.
Boy, Jeff, we've seen drivers have a tough time trying to work their way back up through the field. Tall order for Chase Elliott, but to Alan's point, early in the race, you can still overcome it.
It is early in the race, and that is a good thing. But, guys, these playoffs have been full of mistakes.
Yep.
And, you know, it's going to bite somebody. It's going to keep somebody from advancing to the next round.
The 8 points help him out in that first stage. The field 2x2 once again approaching the Geico restart zone. Up front, Denny Hamlin on the bottom, Kyle Larson up top, and that high line rolls quickly. Brad Keselowski in the 2, fighting for second now.
A little contact there on the left rear with the 11 car. These guys get really nervous when you get contact, afraid you're going to get a tire rub, cut that tire.
We saw the 11 of Denny Hamlin lose a little bit of time on pit road where it sounds like they were making repairs to that right rear quarter panel. Just maybe a little tug. We saw a little contact, just making sure everything's fine. Still a long way to go in the race.
Brad's got to be feeling great right now about his race car. I spoke to him earlier today, and he said, our cars have just been way too slow, but now he's battling for the lead.
Look to the inside of that 5 of Larson. Larson's going to stay up high. A little wiggle once again. Will that open the door for Keselowski to take the lead? He leads that lap.
I was concerned when he said his car was so good early because I was afraid the track would change, but it seems like the 2 of Brad Keselowski's been able to stay in front of the track and keep the speed of the car. Now Denny Hamlin's going to try to follow him through underneath the 5 of Larson.
Larson dives back down to the bottom to get in front of the 4 of Kevin Harvick.
So the 5 car is obviously struggling on the short run, and they probably need to work on that just a little bit, guys. Cannot lose this track position. It's so much harder to get back, especially when this track goes to the top, and it's hard to pass, Dave.
Brad Keselowski running out front now and having a good night here at a track where he has been very good. So is everything normal with Brad? Well, of course, we know he's going to go become part owner over at Roush Fenway Racing at the end of the year, and I confirm with the team that it's not awkward that he's still there. They're very focused on what they're doing. About the only thing Brad's not involved in with the Penske organization is next year, the 2022 car and those meetings. Otherwise, it's game on, and Brad's got it game on tonight.
And at 37 years old, Brad Keselowski making this change from one organization to another. Maybe his best opportunity to win a championship this year here in 2021. And looking very strong here at Bristol. His last win came just a year ago here at this racetrack. He's got 3 wins.
So drivers, my question to you is, how do you know as a driver when it's time to jump to the top?
Well, you saw it
so quick, right? Well, it happened so quick.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, it seems like everyone's still mostly around the bottom.
Watch this 11. I mean, he's found speed up in the top of 3 and 4 early in the run here. Look at this. Now he's in position to be in the preferred line right now in turn 1 and 2. Brad's going to run him very tight, keep him really close. Then he's going to drive in really deep into 3 and clear Brad easily. Brad obviously not quite hooked up at the top of the racetrack in 3 and 4 like the 11 is.
Here comes Larson into the picture.
The advantage Denny had right there, though, was there was nobody behind him. No one putting pressure on him. So if you went to the top and it didn't work, it didn't matter. If you get further back in the field and somebody's all over you and you go to the top, you can lose 5 or 6 spots if it doesn't work. So you see Brad continue to lose spots right here, but Hamlin had nothing to lose by trying the top.
Are we surprised by Ryan Blaney being in the picture now in the 12?
I like Blaney here. I think he enjoys this racetrack, and we've seen him run really well here in the past. He goes to the racetrack here, trying to get a run off turn 4. Dave, what you got on this 12 car?
Well, Junior, remember last year, this race eliminated Ryan Blaney, and I asked his crew chief, Todd Gordon, today about coming here this year, and he said they were pretty confident, but this round has been their toughest. Darlington, Richmond, this track at Bristol. They want to get to the next round where they feel every racetrack is in their wheelhouse, and this 12 car, a little bit loose most of the night, is showing a lot of speed, currently running 4th.
And that's his best finish. 4th has been his best finish at Bristol in the Cup cars.
We talked about what a penalty would do. The 9 of Chase Elliott on the bottom of your screen has worked his way into the 21st position. Remember, speeding is just not a slow pit stop like what happened to Joey Logano. It's tail end. So he had to start even behind the lap down cars. He has just now worked his way through most of the lap down cars, starting to find lead lap cars and starting to gain some position. But I mean, that is a bigger penalty than a slower pit stop when it comes to actual track position.
Watching at the top of the screen, the 4-car Harvick close in on the back bumper of the 2-car Keselowski. Really impressed by the speed in the 4-car this round. They haven't had it all year long, but when it came time for the playoffs, they've stepped up. This team won more races than anybody last year, dominated the season. Everything but the title.
And Harvick's been a driver that when you put him in a corner, normally he comes up and shines. Can win races if he has a must-win situation. It hasn't been must-win for him, but he's definitely picked up the game these first 3 races of this first round. Dylan.
And they feel like Rodney Childers, the crew chief, feels like that their history here and the things they've hit on the setup over the years pays dividends for them. Don't feel like the track changes too much. That's enabled them to come here and, like we talked about earlier, unload off the truck and be consistently good. So they were confident too. They said that goes a long way. Feel like they can win here no matter what. And even on an off year, kind of like they've had, still very confident coming in here. Happy with the race car so far. Kevin said he's just struggling on center exit and rolling through the center of the corner. That's been his only complaint so far.
For a car, I'm not going to say it's a surprise. I think I was expected to see the 20th Christopher Bell run well, but he's battling inside the top 10. Here he is in 7th under attack by William Byron currently, as Byron will take the position. But Bell, top 10 in all 3 short tracks this year. He knows how to short track race. He comes from that dirt world where they move around, move through traffic. I think forget surface. I think what that dirt world allows you to do when you come here, drivers, is that traffic, right? Top, bottom, kind of that rhythm of changing your line each lap helps some of these drivers. So a nice run from the 20. And another driver I think a lot of people had eliminated in round 1, and that's the 10 of Eric Almirola. And here he is right here, running in the 9th position, currently 10 points above the cut line with that big win, although maybe a little bit of smoke out of the back. We'll have to check that when we come back.
I know Brad Doherty has been very high on Kyle Larson, who right now is running in second, trying to chase down the 11 of Denny Hamlin. Brad Doherty will be on NBC Sports on Sirius XM on Wednesday with the Bagman and Pete Pistone. That's NASCAR Radio Channel 90, live Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern. Caution has come out. Daniel Suarez, smoke rolling out from underneath the 99.
Yeah, the 99's had some trouble. The 6 of Ryan Newman is also on pit road with heavy damage.
Oh my goodness.
41 of Cole Custer's on pit road also.
What happened here?
Newman's got a right front tire, left front tire issue. That sends him into the wall. Those guys just have nowhere to go.
That's how quick it happens, right? I mean, you had nothing to do with it. You drive down to the corner, they're wrecking in front of you.
Looks like how the damage occurred on the back of the 99. I don't know if that was created by the 41 or someone else.
Might be a big break by the 10 of Eric Almirola. I mentioned it on the way to break that it looked like it was smoking. You see currently definitely some sort of smoke coming out of the back of this car. The Ford emblem hasn't really changed color, so I don't know if it's oil or not. Let's listen into the 10.
Why are we smoking? I know, we're trying to figure that out right now. We don't see any tire rubs or anything like that. Yeah, it doesn't smell like tire. It doesn't smell like anything.
So at this point, you hope it's something simple, maybe too much oil in the rear end, coming out the breather line, some sort of smoke like that. My bigger concern is if you've had an issue in the rear end with like a seal or an axle seal, as much as you turn around this place, all that grease is going to go out to the right side, and that rear end gear is not going to survive. The tire itself doesn't look too shiny.
Yeah, that wheel doesn't look shiny either.
So they definitely have to diagnose it, but this will give them a chance to do that under yellow. I would come in, take the right sides off, take your time to try to see where the smoke is coming from.
It's interesting, Steve, that he said he couldn't smell anything. It didn't smell like anything. Rear end grease has a very distinctive smell. Transmission has a distinctive smell. He said he couldn't smell anything, so that's a little puzzling.
Let's take another look at this crash here, riding on board. Daniel Suarez, Coke Zero Sugar Can. Oh, he gets run into right there. So I think that might have been Bubba Wallace that got into the back of him, creating a lot of damage to the 99 car on the right near quarter panel.
We'll have to look at the front of the
Left
23.
quarter panel. Yeah. So coming, I think that the 6 and the 41 might have had some contact on the straightaway.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. Look at that, Junior. Great call. 23 of Bubba Wallace was the one that made contact. That one matches the one right in front of him, like a puzzle piece.
Yeah, I thought there was a tire down on the 6, but I believe there was something that created that issue for him. It happened a little bit before that.
Now, if you're a playoff car, this is what you're most nervous about, because you could just as easily, you could have been a playoff car lapping the 6. You could have been racing the 6. I mean, you see the 9 of Chase Elliott. He's
right there.
4 cars. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, you see the 41. So the 6 cleared himself over across the nose of the 41, sends him into the fence, breaks the right front suspension, then they go into the corner and wreck.
That was a great call. Trying to figure out why. I thought he had a flat tire, as you pointed out, but look at it, Junior.
Yeah, so the 6 is clearing himself over the 41 right there.
And so they all slow up, and then
that's where
there's Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace doesn't get slowed up. He didn't see it happen as quick as the guys in front of him.
Coming to pit road now to get those 4 fresh tires and fuel. Dylan.
Kyle Busch will come in from the 6th spot. Been battling that tight condition all evening long. Said that run was better, but it's still too tight, and his exit is where he suffers the most. They'll make 4 tires and fuel the change. Don't see a wrench. Looks like maybe just air pressure for the 18, Marty.
Kurt Busch, middle of your screen, said the car was better to start, but man, he cannot get back to the gas as the run goes on. Alex Bowman said his car still just a little bit too tight, but he feels like he can run the top a little bit better than he can the bottom of the racetrack. Meanwhile, Tyler Reddick, what a terrific run for Reddick on that last run from 13th to 8th on the racetrack. Very happy with his handling of the car, Dave.
Middle of your screen, coming in 9th was the 20 car of Christopher Bell. Tight on that run, wedge adjustment for him, 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel. Bottom of the screen, it fired off loose, but good that run, said the driver of the 24, William Byron. He came in 7th. Let's watch the race off pit road, Rick.
Yeah, still a lot of smoke coming out of the 10 as he comes out of his stalls. We look at Larson grabbing the top spot off pit road. time for the Carvana IndyCar update. Alex Palou leads the championship point standings, coming off his 3rd win of the year. That was last week. Had an award next, followed by 2-time champion Joseph Newgarden, 6-time champ Scott Dixon. Meanwhile, Mr. 7-time at NASCAR, Jimmy Johnson, has run only road courses in his rookie IndyCar season, but recently actually tested on the oval at Texas. So the question remains, will he add ovals to a sophomore season, perhaps the Indy 500? Grand Prix of Monterey. Qualifying shows following our coverage tonight. And the race is tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern on NBC.
Happy birthday to our old buddy Jimmy Johnson.
Yep.
46 yesterday.
Getting close to his car number.
Yeah, so Almirola came in, pitted, went back on the racetrack, came back down pit road, opened the hood. Let's take a listen to what the crew was saying.
You have a game plan? Do you know what it is?
No, we got to open the hood to look at it. All we know is we got fluid inside the left front.
All right, so fluid inside the left front. Unfortunately, that doesn't tell me much. It could be brake fluid. It could be power steering fluid. Dave, what do you think?
Just checked with Greg Zipadelli, competition director. He said they think it's an oil line. They did not get it that time, and you can tell.
And they're going to post the 10, so he'll get a black flag. They'll ask him
They
to come
put us
back.
on the board. We got to get in. Not going to go. Not going to go. They're looking for oil.
Cautions come back out. They're afraid there might be some fluid on the track.
All right, so right here you see a crew member standing on pit wall in his right hand. That is an oil line. It doesn't look very long, so it tells me this perhaps is the oil line that feeds the oil cooler. It would be in the left front corner of the race car. They're going to open the hood. And now these lines, they don't even take a wrench. They just slide on with a
what's
clip.
wrong, or do you don't want to talk about it?
It's not a quick connect.
Hold on.
Well, what it is it's a clasp that basically will go over it and clasps together. So they won't need a wrench. If they can do this and not lose a lap, it's going to be very impressive. And I'll actually go one further. I think you're better off to just lose a lap. Well, now the problem they have is the car's going green, so he's going to lose many laps because they're going to do this under speed.
No, it went back to caution.
That's a huge, that's a huge break. Yeah, so they said they were looking for oil. When they said, hey, we're out here looking for oil, that immediately was a sign that, hey, that's the break for the 10 car, because they can come down pit road, maybe get that line changed and not go as many laps down.
Well, and I'm going to applaud NASCAR. Remember, we've seen some cars in rain. There's a lot on the line. They can't be dropping the green if there's potential fluid. Obviously, there is. They're putting Speedy Dry down. A huge break for Eric Almirola. This is going to be great to watch. Hood's going to come up. You're going to see some of the best mechanics at work right here. Take your time. Even if you have to lose a lap, lose it.
Shut off the motor, shut off the motor.
Shut off the motor. You can't have oil pumping if you're going to disconnect the line. They're going to go in here. Remember,
Steve, how hot is it in there?
well, the oil is going to be 260 to 280 degrees. Everything under that hood is cooking. The headers are super hot. You see them spraying some brake clean, probably trying to figure out which line's leaking. The issue is, once everything's covered with oil...
Shut the fan off. Shut the fan off.
Oh, yeah, shut the fan off. You don't want fingers next to that electric fan.
And see, they're still not one to go yet. They're still out there trying to clean the track. So the longer they clean the track, the more of a break for Eric Almirola.
Well, crew continues to work. Looks like one line off, the other line's going on. We'll update you when we return to Bristol.
You've been listening into the communication, and you can go inside the headsets as well with access to NASCAR Scanner for only $4.99 for the playoffs. Visit NASCAR.com/scanner. You can start your subscription tonight.
Well, the crews continue to clean up some oil on pit road from that 10 car. They got that oil line changed and stayed on the lead lap. Great work by the 10. Let's listen in. I think that we have a few more updates on what they think the issue was.
All right, we're good here. Stay out here. You're going to see smoke for a little bit because the old oil still sitting there, but we got the line change that had a leak in it. Copy. We should just have to check over everything.
Mike Bugaravich, the crew chief, coaching his driver along. When you know you come to Bristol, it can be chaotic, but these are the types of things that so much preparation goes in. Who does what? Who's responsible for what situation? We see some oil sitting on pit wall. Doesn't look like they're going to go in. They would have to go into the back of the car, actually behind the drivers where the oil tank is. If you want to add oil.
Do they practice that? Is that a pit stop practice ever?
You know, maybe not practice it, but make sure you understand how the car works. Years ago, when you changed engines during practice, you were super familiar with how that car went together. I'm very impressed they pulled this off because without practice, without all of this stuff, it's been a long time since they had to go into the hood like that. So great work by the 10. That could be the difference, keeping them in the playoffs.
Keselowski on the inside, Larson on the outside, green flag back in the air.
Field feathers down into turn 1 and 2. A little bit of dust and debris. Speedy dry on that bottom groove. It's going to take a little bit of grip and speed and pace from that 2 car. He's losing spots right here as we continue off turn 4. Harvick gets by, dropping to 4th position. Blaney to the outside of Keselowski. Hamlin up front, looking around, trying to find a different line to get around the leader of Larson.
There's Kyle Busch, an 8-time winner here at Bristol.
Big moment by Brad. He gets up off the bottom. He says, hey man, that speedy drive is a little bit too slick for me. Reddick creeping back into the picture. Lost a lot of positions at the very start of the race. Worked his way back into the top 10 here. Marty.
Boy, Junior, you want to throw in the candidate for drive of the night so far. How about Tyler Reddick? Restarted 13th a moment ago. He has now driven his way up to 7th, fighting for 6th with Kyle Busch. And he told me earlier this week, we have to get stage points early in this race. Well, they didn't do that in stage 1, but there was no panic on the 18 with Tyler or crew chief Randall Burnett. They just made the car consistently better. Right now in the top 10 and 7th and on the right side of the cut line as well.
See the guys battling for points. Kurt Busch is now below that cutoff line. Almirola, William Byron, and Michael McDowell, all the 4 drivers that have the least amount of points right now.
And the 6 of Ryan Newman, unable to repair his car. The clock's run out on his damaged vehicle policy, so he'll retire the car for the evening.
Looking back from the Toyota cam, Kyle Busch.
Steve, you like Reddick tonight. We talked earlier. He's running the bottom of the racetrack right there, and if this track opens up like it's doing, it's the kind of racetrack that you'd expect Reddick to be good at. Anywhere where you run the high line, him, Larson, all those guys with that dirt experience you talk about.
Yeah, just that rhythm, that entry speed. There's something about it. I mean, I'm not a driver, so I can't tell you. You are probably the best at running the top at all these different racetracks, and you always explained that it just seemed so clear to you the speed you had to carry on entry to make the top work. Reddick seems to be just as comfortable doing that.
Yeah, I think why the dirt guys do it so well is because you use the throttle and the brake so much differently on the top versus the bottom, and they can transition quickly from doing that, running the bottom to the top, where a lot of these guys sort of get settled into a groove and then they try to drive the top just like they drive the bottom, and that does not work.
Here's playoff problem updates. The 2 drivers, the 9 and the 22. The 22, a slow pit stop earlier. The 9 was caught speeding. Well, here they both are all the way back up in the 9th and 10th position. You talk about, you know, cars that make the playoffs. How do they make the playoffs? This is how. Average cars, when you lose track position, you don't recover. You go home during the week and you say, if we'd have kept track position, we'd have had a good night. Great cars lose track position and they grind their way back into the top 10. We're not even 200 laps and they're back in the thing. That's the difference.
And Steve, I tell you what else helped. Remember how we were talking about you couldn't gain track position on the run before this? Well, that was a long green flag run. We've had a couple of restarts here, and with two of the best restarters in the business with Chase Elliott and Joey Logano, they've made it work. They found their way back to the top 10. So that's how you get track position tonight. Get a couple of good restarts makes all the difference in the world.
And Jeff, is it fair to say, or Dale Jr., is it fair to say the choose rule helps that? You can kind of gain some spots, maybe get a couple rows just by choosing whichever is the non-preferred lane.
Yeah, well, you get to pick what you want to pick, but so does everybody else, right? They all get to pick it as well, and I think it makes it more aggressive. I think the choose rule has really changed racing, and this outside lane, you see how it's come in. That's changed these restarts as well.
Reddick all the way up the racetrack in that 8. Now he's trying to get by Christopher Bell here, as we see Joey Logano to the inside of William Byron.
Bunch of points right in front of you, homie.
There you have it.
Yeah,
Both coach William Byron.
Yeah, he's 10 points below the cut line right now, and when you talk points, he needs as many as he can get.
When I look at those points, my head hurts. I mean, 7 plus 1, minus 1, minus 5, minus 10. It's so close.
Marty.
Hey guys, let's give you an update on Kurt Busch sitting in 17th, talking on the radio right now to his crew chief Matt McCall, and he has told the guys, we have just not hit it tonight. And that just now talking about maybe a vibration. He's worried about it being perhaps a loose wheel that has come about as well. But one of the things he said that was very interesting, Junior, he said, just feels like the ride heights on the car are not right. Like we didn't set them right. And whatever we do, it's not going to make the car what we want. Kurt Busch still mired back in 17th.
Yeah, if the car's too low, obviously it's going to be getting into the racetrack. Splitter's going to be on the track. You're going to have to come in, put Packer in the car, get it up off the track. If the heights are too high, your car's just not going to be aerodynamically as sound as you'd like it to be. It's going to cost you a lot of pace.
How about Eric Jones right here, guys? Eric Jones having a good night. Passing Joey Logano. Half of the races Eric Jones has run here in a Cup car, he's finished in the top 5.
Mention to add to that Eric Jones story. Remember, he's officially announced that he'll be returning to Richard Petty Motorsports. Oh boy, look at this.
To be fair, yeah, Eric does a great job, but that team does well here too. They've done great with Bubba Wallace in the past behind the wheel, so showing up with a great race car for a solid driver at this racetrack.
Once again, a lot of traffic in front of the pack here. The 5 of Larson has been able to negotiate through. And now Denny Hamlin's going to try that low line to see if he can get by this traffic as well. for almost a century. The Ryder Cup has pitted America versus Europe. This year at Whistling Straits, the U.S. team looking to reclaim the trophy on American turf. Ryder Cup next Friday through Sunday on NBC, Golf, and Peacock. Go to RyderCup.com for news, highlights, and much more. Steve, we're going to be focused on that one as the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs from Bristol, telecast presented by Applebee's, continues.
I'm going to be focused on it, and I'll be cheering on the Americans, but a little bit of controversy, right? Brooks Koepka came out with some comments about the Ryder Cup, then Paul Hezek didn't really love everything he had to say, so we'll see. I think if old Brooks can go out and win all his matches, all will be forgotten, but if he doesn't play well, it'll be interesting.
Butch Harmon said, I think what you need to do is put Brooks and Bryson together the very first match and say, go out there and win a point for America.
I'm not sure if the coaching needs to
Would it be
the
like
best
Bristol?
idea. No. I'd be like, look, y'all don't have to like each other. Y'all don't even have to play together. Just win.
Looking back from the subway on board of Kevin Harvick. Harvick running up in the top 3. A great race in this 2021 season for Kevin Harvick. We haven't seen him running up here in the top 5 as much this year. Junior, as you mentioned earlier, Harvick the winningest driver a year ago, and I think we've all been surprised that he hasn't been able to find victory lane yet this season.
I watched Harvick run the high line here at Bristol for years, and he has a very unique way of running it. He enters a little bit lower than everybody else, but carries a ton of speed to the center of the corner, and he maintains. You'd think that would hurt him on exit, but he maintains on exit. I don't know how he does it, but he enters really low, chops the entry, drives deep into the corner, and then rolls that top on exit and never really gives up a ton on that corner exit. So it's an interesting line, different than most guys. A lot of guys enter higher than he does, but it's what he likes.
We're seeing Kyle Busch trying to hold off Chase Elliott.
Oh, we got a car in the wall. Big crash down in turn 3 and 4.
Couple cars collected, including the 78. That's BJ McLeod. Also Anthony Alfredo in the 38. That car's been shortened up.
Saw Anthony get in the corner, into the fence, come down the track in front of the 78 of BJ McLeod, and there's the damage as he plowed into the side of Anthony.
This is really unfortunate for some of these smaller teams like the 78 of BJ McLeod. It's not just a poor finish, but this is a race car that is going to need major repairs if they plan on running it at any point during the rest of the season. Let's take another look there, guys.
Yeah, you're going to see Anthony, a little bit of contact there. Was that?
He got a little help from the 7, I believe, of Corey LaJoie.
Yeah, it looks to me like the 7 just sends him off into the corner. I don't know if he was off the pace or what happened there.
Nowhere for BJ McLeod to go. He gets into the left front.
77 collects.
Yeah, huge contact
as well.
on the 77.
Yeah, Justin Haley, he advanced into the playoffs. His Xfinity playoffs start next week.
Joey's like, I'm lucky to get through there.
There's nowhere for them to go.
My goodness.
There's the damage to Haley in the 77.
Yeah, I'm going to guess Corey trying to go around at 38 was getting a little frustrated with it.
And that's the point of Bristol, right? So one driver gets frustrated, and then he, sends a guy off into the corner, drives by, collects 3 other guys. They had nothing to do with it.
And this is how, how that happens is you can run down a car, be way faster, but if he wants to, he can make it almost impossible to pass you on the bottom of the racetrack. So he'll just run that top, and he can hold you up and hold you up.
That caution was a big break for Eric Almirola. We saw him. He had to start at the back of everybody because he was on pit road a second, third time. Well, that caution is going to let him get caught back up, and he'll be able to restart with the lead lap cars this next restart.
Yeah, the leader was literally 10 car lengths behind this guy. Eric Almirola was about to go a lap down quickly.
A lot of people would say, okay, wait a second. Corey LaJoie, he's running back there in 27th position. Why is he being aggressive and everything? But Junior, you made a comment yesterday. I think you and Jeff were both talking about how aggressive these guys are racing from 20th to 30th. They're all fighting for positions. There's a race almost within the race with these guys.
Yeah, and they've raced each other all year long. So, they're over it. So let's listen to what Corey has to say.
Guy's got to pick a lane. If he's that wrecked, it goes from the top to the bottom. Careful.
It feels like that Anthony was not holding a consistent lane. We kind of get into it a little bit late. Don't know what happened off of turn 2.
47 or Stenhouse comes in the picture. I think he avoided any sort of damage.
Not a lot of damage on the front of the 7 of LaJoie either. But it brings out the 4th caution of the night from Bristol.
And that run was 39 laps, so this might be one of those times in the race where we may not see everybody come to pit road. You know, 25 cars in the lead lap, 27 to go in the stage. We're getting ready to determine, you know, how much do they think tires are worth. We know track position's super valuable. It doesn't seem like there's a ton of activity. We'll just have to see what all these crew chiefs think. And if everybody does come to pit road, does someone like Kurt Busch stay out and just try to flip this track position and work his way back up into the top 5?
The reason pit road is not open yet, they're cleaning up the oil, the fluid that came out the cars in 3 and 4, and it's right on the entrance to pit road that comes out of turn 4. So we're waiting for pit road to open. We'll take a quick break and be right back.
Frustrations of racing at Bristol.
I had to force an apology, which to me is just childish.
What a joke he is.
Look at this.
Robbie's getting into everybody tonight.
Just like every form of racing he's ever been in, it's always somebody else's fault.
Dale Jarrett very, very hot right now.
You just used one hand, didn't you, Dale? The fuse is lit.
I've got some really good words for him, but I can't say it on TV.
Hey, everybody, it's Bristol. They're fighting.
So tempers sometimes flare when you come to Bristol Motor Speedway. Some of the best moments. Earnhardt, Labonte just wanted to rattle his cage a little bit.
You know, something that I'm not sure the fans understand is if your driver goes and does something that they cheer for, that perhaps NASCAR doesn't like, somehow NASCAR thinks the crew chief had control of the driver. You have to go to the trailer with your driver and get yelled at. I've been up there, that push to Kenseth, the Gordon Kenseth push. I got invited over there. I was like, man, I had nothing to do with this. I don't know why I'm here.
So the field actually has been stopped right now on the front stretch as they're cleaning up the fluid that was put down on the track. So a red flag has come out. It's just a couple seconds into that now. They'll continue to clean that up. They didn't want to lose any laps. Only 25 still to go in stage 2. We'll be right back.
Let's go downstairs now and go over to Alan Carvana and just some intense discussion on the 5-car radio now. Call it the burden of being the leader, right? You have to decide what to do, come down pit road or not, because the whole field can choose to do the opposite. If that happened, they would be sitting ducks. So they're debating on whether to come down or not and how many cars may come behind them. That's the way on the 5 radio right now. Let's go over to Brad and Bill. And here with Reddick, the crew chief for William Byron. Not tough pitches to call a race when you've got so much going on as far as points and things like that, and you just want to concentrate on the race itself. Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot on the line tonight. Lynn's doing a great job, and he's on the Chevy, and just got to get a couple more spots and get some stage points so we're a little bit closer to that final run at the end. So, yeah, there's a lot going with these points, and got some playoff drivers who are a bit in jeopardy. We saw some issues out there for Eric Almirola, Michael McDowell.
NASCAR on NBCSN is brought to you by Ford. Built Ford proud. South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa, where the racers stay in Las Vegas. And by the Sonic Grilled Cheeseburger. For a limited time, only at Sonic.
Hey everybody, welcome to NASCAR America Motor Mouse.
Hi, my name is Brody, and I'm 9 years old.
Do you guys think that Joe Gibbs will sweep the very first round?
I think Kyle Busch goes from the most miserable guy at Joe Gibbs Racing to maybe the second happiest or third happiest and wins Bristol.
I remember Kyle Busch telling me one time, he's like, yeah, my cars are handling terrible. I've only won one race this year. I was like, yeah, that sucks to be you.
Do you have anything exciting planned for the Bristol intro?
Not that I'm aware of.
My wife doesn't say things a lot of times, and I know what the crap she's talking about. You ain't good.
I would love to have Joey Logano and Brad Keselowski's bad year.
You completely disagree with the power rankings. Hit my man Dustin up on Twitter and tell him everything that's wrong.
I don't think I've ever been on a racetrack that's shorter than a half mile, so how's that going to go?
How does that work?
Yeah, how does that work?
There's going to be some mad drivers, man.
All smiles for A.J. Allmendinger there, the guest last Wednesday. A great finish for him yesterday as he was able to get the win here, or last night I should say, and win the regular season championship. And NASCAR American Motor Mouth, so much fun. I'm telling you, you guys, Jeff, Steve, you're going to be on the show on Monday.
I love it. Fans can call in. It's on Peacock at 6 o'clock, and I can assure you Jeff Burton will be fired up. You get fired up on Mondays. I don't know what it is, but the retired driver comes out of you. You want to talk about what happened.
I love Mondays. I like the fans when they call in fired up. That makes the show so much fun. It was really, really good having Allmendinger on this past week. He was really fun, had a great time. Listen, if he keeps winning after visiting, we'll never get rid of him.
And again, that's Monday, Wednesday, 6 to 7 p.m. on Peacock. Rutledge, we're under red flag condition. I bet you're finding something fun to do here at the track.
You know what? I was just thinking about some of my favorite callers for that show. We got NASCAR, Marvin Blue. You guys know so many great ones. I love that the fans get that opportunity. If you're at home wondering if you've got a driver in the championship right now who's on that bubble, where do you sit? Well, Richard Childress just sits right up there. Look at RC. Looking good. Now, he did, guys. I noticed he got a little cold. He went and got a vest. But, you know, he's been watching Tyler. Tyler's sitting right now in 12th. It's so cool to see, you know, there's so many different drivers and how they like to participate. But you guys know, seeing RC down here every single week, and you see that he still has that same passion, that same love. And, guys, I'll be honest. I think if Tyler Reddick can get in there, he might take us to Applebee's, might get us a milkshake, 2 straws, and he'd probably pick up the check. Girl, he got you. That's how he rolls, Rick.
That's how he rolls. RC, I'm going to grab a quick sip of water. All right, let's take a look at the Cup playoff standings presented by Xfinity. And again, the top 12 advance. So the bottom 4 in points will be out after tonight as far as playoff contention. Tyler Reddick, Eric Almirola, William Byron, and Michael McDowell all below that line right now.
And this one's going to take all 500 laps. I mean, it is so close.
Hey, look at these guys so far tonight. You know, in stage 1, the 10, the 1, the 48, the 8. None of those guys gained any playoff, any stage points.
So William Byron fighting just 5 points behind. We're in a red flag condition. We'll be back after track cleanup continues. the Bass Pro Shops night race from Bristol Motor Speedway. And the red flag has been lifted back under caution, so the cars begin to roll. Again, just 25 to go in the second stage. Let's listen in on Ryan Blaney's radio.
I have a lead. I think I'd take it.
You think if I can't get the lead, we come? But if I can get the lead, stay?
I think so. I don't even think front row does it because you get stuck on the bottom, you know?
All right, so that basically is a crew chief driver conversation. Sounds like the 12 of Ryan Blaney will be coming to pit road unless the 3 cars in front of him stay out. He said not even front row. So don't stay out if you're going to be in second, because I think we get stuck on the bottom. So Larson, Hamlin, Harvick, if they come to pit road, Blaney will stay on the racetrack, and that's the advantage of not being the leader. Not that you ever not want to be the leader, Marty, but there is a small advantage in these situations.
Same debate on the one radio. Listen in.
It's such a double-edged sword right now with who's going to stay out, who's not. I'm assuming the 8's going to stay out. 48, I don't think will.
All right, so we're the pretty much last car on the lead lap right now, right? There's only about 3 behind us.
No, there's 8 behind us.
7 pit, then we still stay out because we might need to grab a stage point.
And this is a team with a vibration currently. That's how important stage points are, Dylan. Do they stay out or do they pit right here?
Looks like about everybody is going to stay out. So we've got the 12 coming down. Looks like the top 3 or 4, though, stayed out.
And as promised, Kurt Busch counted cars. His spotter Tyler Green did, we should say. And they're going to come take care of that vibration right now. He said, hey, we were much better on that run before. We've got to figure out how to get back to there. Meanwhile, Alex Bowman saying that his car way too tight. On the last stop, they did 2 rounds in the right rear. They also put a spring rubber in as well, too free, I should say, for Alex Bowman. Meanwhile, front side of pit road, here comes Tyler Reddick, and he said we were not as good as we were that last time. They make an adjustment. He fell out of the top 10, Dave.
So the 12 ends up doing the opposite of what we thought, perhaps 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel. He said the 4th turn exit is extraordinary, but I'm chattering the fronts. That's what the adjustment was for.
They'll have the choose code when we come back for the restart. Two former MVPs are going to lead their teams on Sunday Night Football as Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs visit Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. Coverage starting at 7 p.m. Eastern with Football Night in America on NBC and Peacock.
The fireworks, I don't know what the total is in that game, and they're going to put up, what, 60 or 65 points?
Yeah.
They move the ball down the field.
Yeah, 2 impressive quarterbacks there. As there was indecision and actually a really close call by the guys that were up front with Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin. A very late decision to stay off of pit road. Take a look at how close this is.
Very important. You cannot touch this orange box right there, and then very close for Denny Hamlin. It was clean, but much closer than you would want to be. If you touch that box, it's a violation. You lose your track position.
So many times in Bristol we see the field split, meaning different strategies. Well, that just happened. Some people pitted, some people didn't. I think this is a huge point in the race for William Byron. We know that he needs points. He's got himself in position right now in 6th to go get some stage points. The problem is the cars behind him, only 2 behind him is Kevin Harvick. So he has Stenhouse Jr. and Wallace in front of Harvick, but Harvick leads the pack with 4 tires. So can William Byron stay in front of Kevin Harvick and get stage points, or are they going to go blowing by him and he ultimately get no stage points? Huge moment for William Byron right here.
Under 20 laps to go in stage 2. Let's check in with KP and DJ.
You know, listen to those guys, DJ. It tells, just like we said in pre-race, how important stage points are. We see half these guys pit knowing they need stage points. Half these guys stay out protecting themselves. I don't want to be William Byron right now.
No, that's a difficult position to put your driver in, but you're trying to make it to the next round of the playoffs. You have to take chances like this, go get what you can. Fortunately for him, the racetrack is widened out. That could be beneficial to him here.
Yeah, this is going to be the most important 10 or 15 laps for William Byron, maybe of the season, Rick.
See if he makes the right decision here as they are choosing which line they want to restart in. He's going to start on the high side.
That's an important choose. I like the top. I think you can get pinned at the bottom with older tires.
Yeah, I like that top as well. William will be starting behind Kyle Busch. Bubba Wallace in the 23 on the inside, so William maybe advance a few positions in these first few laps.
Yeah. Just give you some drivers to look for. Kevin Harvick, Blaney, Bell, Reddick. Those are the first 4 on new tires.
Yeah,
Harvick, Blaney, Bell.
And the top 8 stayed out, so they have the older tires up front. We'll see what Harvick can do with that. As you mentioned, he's the first one that is on the fresher tires. The field approaching the Geico restart zone. There will be 18 laps to go in stage 2.
See William Byron back there fighting on the outside of that 4 car, trying to keep that position. They've not really been able to just go right by him with those newer tires. Didn't think tires meant a lot last night, Steve, and tonight it appears that tires not too critical now. They've also been sitting and cooling down under the red flag.
Yeah, I agree. A little bit of a dress rehearsal perhaps for the end of the race, but you mentioned that red flag. I do think, oh man,
look here.
3 wide.
A lot of contact.
Oh man.
Now William Byron's on the bottom. Can his car work on the bottom? Will he get stuck down there? What's Harvick going to do? Harvick's going to try to jump on the outside of him or not? See a battle for the lead.
Battle for the lead. Here comes Hamlin once again in the 11. They cross the stripe with 14 to go. Hamlin right up to the back bumper of Larson. Maybe even gives him a little bit of the bumper.
This battle for William Byron is so difficult. If he can clear Kyle Busch, it would be huge. If he doesn't clear him, somebody's going to try to jump on the outside of him and go with Kyle Busch around him. But William doing a great job of battling.
Denny Hamlin's decided to climb up the banking a little bit, a little higher, a little air to the nose. Will he get to the right rear quarter panel of 5? He's there in turn 1.
Kyle had to give it to him there. Kyle jumps in the throttle. He's able to clear him up off of 2. Move back up against the fence. Try to protect that position.
Now 11 to go. Here comes Brad Keselowski into the picture.
Denny's done such a great job having not won all year long. He's gained so many points, playoff points over the last couple of weeks. Trying to get one more here at the end of this stage. Brad Keselowski drawing in on this battle for the lead. We continue to watch William Byron trying to maintain his track position in this stage.
And Junior, it was amazing that it took Denny until the start of the playoffs to get his first win of 2021. So winning at Darlington, maybe that shot in the arm, the boost that he needed, keep the momentum going here, as now he's chasing after Larson and has Keselowski behind him.
It's the playoff points, I think, that's the one thing that's been the most impressive, because that's going to carry him further into the playoffs and give him that opportunity to try to race for for his first championship. So he really wasn't in a great position with playoff points. Now he's in a good spot, and he would definitely love this stage win if he can get it.
He's gained 9 playoff points in these playoffs, so great start.
I don't think you're a Final Four guy without at least 20 playoff points.
Blaney's been struggling on this since this restart. Kyle Busch struggling as well.
Byron holding on to a top 5 spot, needs every point he can get, potentially getting some stage points at the end of stage 2. Tyler Reddick in the same boat, needs those points. Reddick just 2 points above the cut line with Kyle Busch right on his back bumper. And a lot of traffic in front of him. Trying to go by Bubba Wallace now. Anthony Alfredo in the 38 taking that car back onto pit road. Kyle Busch still working that high line, Dylan.
Yeah, he's trying anything he can. You can see him kind of moving all over the racetrack. Just has been tight all evening long. Now, the start of the day, he said, we just kind of need a typical solid Bristol night for us, 5th through 10th, which is where he's running. But they are trying to get on top of this race car. There was some pretty detailed discussion between him and his crew chief in Bayshore under that red, just trying to get this race car better because they don't want to run 10th. They want to get up there and challenge for the lead, but not going to be able to do it with the car they've got right now.
They got plenty of time still to go. There's 252 laps remaining in this race, although there's only less than 2 to go here in stage 2 as Larson and Hamlin will get the 1 to go in stage 2.
William Byron passes the 9 at Chase Elliott. That's another point. That puts the 24 above the cut line.
That was a huge stage for William Byron.
Larson's going to win stage 2. Hamlin will finish in 2nd. So those two swapping positions 14 times. Larson has won a stage, and that becomes the 54th playoff point of 2021 for Kyle Larson, who has been dominant in 2021, but as of late looking for some type of a momentum booster. Well, maybe winning stage 2 will propel him up front to a Bristol win. Two stages complete, and now under 250 laps remain in this 500 lap race from Bristol. Dylan?
Kyle Larson going to work his way down pit road. The discussion between him and crew chief Cliff Daniels is that he's too loose early, but feels like they get better obviously as the run goes, but then he gets too tight early. They're going to opt to not make any changes to the 5 car for now. Kyle Busch in the middle of your screen, he is still just too tight. Track bar adjustment in the back window, 4 tires and fuel, Marty.
Denny Hamlin said he was way looser, Dylan, on that very short run to end stage 2, and was kind of mad at himself, honestly, for the way he approached trying to pass Kyle Larson for the lead. lead. Meanwhile, Chase Elliott on the front side of pit road said the car's really good once he gets going. He has come from the back, Dave, to the top 5.
7 valuable stage points for William Byron in the 24 plus 1 earlier. Will that be enough for tonight? He's got to finish strong. The 2-car of Brad Keselowski, 3rd on that run. Not bad, just a small adjustment to keep up with the way the track is changing.
A lot of split strategies taking place as we pass the halfway point of this race. And one of the things that we know will happen is tempers will flare. Yep, that's DJ. Still wishing he would have caught that helmet. Tony Stewart, pretty good two-hand toss. Denny Hamlin, the Hans device. How about Ward Burton? Ward did not like the way he was raced by, oh yeah, that's right, Dale Jr. So the helmet throw, definitely one of the more monumental moments here at Bristol. Rut, you've got one of the guys that we highlighted there, DJ, and is there going to be some more maybe tempers flaring tonight?
Well, Rick, I mean, we're in what we would refer to as the throw zone, right? Tempers are about to flare, so we're going to see, I feel like, some stuff fly tonight. So, yeah, how about Hall of Famer Dale Jarrett? He's holding this beautiful helmet, about $1,500 before you get it painted $3,000. Dale, you've just been cut off. What do you do? Yeah, you just pitch your helmet. That's not enough. Try the Hans. Try the Hans. That's $2,000. Just fly right over his head. You know what? Like a pirate throwing your booty around. Look at that. Oh, sorry, Kyle. It's not you. It is you.
Couldn't hit him.
Couldn't hit him. But, guys, we are about to see the drama. It's going to go higher and higher. If you can get this guy that upset, I think you've really done something. The question tonight, who's going to throw something? I don't know.
Actually, I saw him that upset earlier today.
And he threw something.
He did. It was totally different, though. This was DJ. He made the comment to us earlier. He said, in Tennessee, I throw helmets. In Virginia, I throw golf clubs.
He's talked about this one. He said, you know, he was nowhere near in the right frame of mind, but the boss move would have been if he'd have caught the helmet back off the car. That would have made it the best helmet throw ever.
Yeah.
I think that was Bobby Hillin in the 90 car, if I'm not mistaken, and I think him and DJ and Kyle both had a problem with him at that year.
I mean, if you're going to throw something like the Hans and the booties, that doesn't have quite the same effect. If you're willing to throw your helmet,
yeah,
that's a new level.
Well, helmets were only a couple $100 back then.
Yeah, good
well,
point.
that was a special helmet too, DJ. Yeah, Junior, you pointed that out.
That year, Dale Jarrett wore a different helmet from a different NFL team every week, and that was the Chiefs helmet that he threw there.
We're seeing Tyler Reddick.
Car back on pit road.
Yeah, back on pit road.
So I was asking you, Steve, this was a great time. Some guys did stay out. Harvick stayed on the track, Blaney. I thought this would have been a good opportunity for a guy like Kurt Busch or somebody to stay out on the track as well, leapfrog about 10 or 15 cars in track position. You see him putting a lug nut on the right rear.
Yeah, and what the problem this is going to be for the 8 is if you pit a second time, now you don't have the opportunity to pull up, back up to the back of the lap down cars. You can only do that if you pit the first time by. I want to clear something up a little bit too. What we showed the 5 and the 11 kind of swerve back up and miss that orange box. I had mentioned if they touched it, it'd be a penalty. The truth is, if you touch it and you go on pit road, that's a penalty. You are allowed to touch it if you stay on the racetrack. And here at Bristol, the way you leave pit road, you do hit that box quite a bit. Marty.
You saw them inserting the lug nut on the 8 car there just to make sure that they had gotten them all on there for Tyler Reddick. Loose wheels, bad thing here at Bristol, and they seem to happen quite frequently. So why did the 1 pit again? To that question that Dale Jr. asked a moment ago, asked Matt McCall about that, because they pitted at 227. To your point, Junior, could have stayed out with all those that did stay out, the 7 that did stay on the racetrack. Matt McCall said, our car just is nowhere in the game right now. We had to work on the car, so we took this opportunity to take another swing at it.
Maybe they'll get an opportunity later in the race to sort of flip this track position for them.
The 4, the 12, and the 22 have officially clinched a spot in the round of 12 based upon the points and where they're running. They will make it into the next round. Steve, we're going to talk strategy a little bit. This is going to be a long, well, potentially a long green flag run. How long can certain guys stay out? Different tire strategies for different drivers in the field. As Harvick now across the start-finish line, leading at Bristol. Blaney taking that high line as well. Christopher Bell in the 20 on the inside. Now under attack from the 19 as Martin Truex Jr. goes by, and then it's 3 wide. Here come those pressure tires.
Yeah, Yeah, Ryan Preece stuck in the middle here, down the back straightaway.
Blaney trying the bottom, Harvick showing it to him.
For the lead, 2 Fords running up front.
And you see what's happening to Preece on the bottom of the racetrack, stuck in the middle. That was the concern.
Oh, a little contact.
Yeah, I thought he was getting ready to get turned around off the nose of the tube, but that's what Matt McCall was telling Marty, that, you know, it sounds good, but if you don't feel like you have the car to hold the track position, you can make your night even worse if you stay out, put your driver in a bad spot.
How many laps can they go, Steve, on fuel, and how long would you want to stay out on tires?
You go about 150, 160 laps. This is not a track you want a short pit on. You're going to lose a ton of laps pitting under under green. Even only running one side of the pit road, it's 2 to 3 laps to pit. So it would take a long run to do it, but we've seen it before.
Blaney still trying to hound this leader. Harvick moving up the racetrack now, trying to get that run off the high side. Blaney to the bottom. He clears the 4. Now we have a new leader, Ryan Blaney.
And he made that look easy, didn't he? Rolled right around the bottom 1 and 2. Car looked great.
Yeah, Harvick's gotten slow right through the middle of the corner. Not sure if he's tight or loose, but right here, just doesn't have the speed he had before.
3 wins already on the 2021 campaign for Ryan Blaney, is now leading at Bristol.
Remember, these guys stayed out on the racetrack, and sometimes those tires cycle for the better, sometimes for the worse. It looks like it's helped this 12 car take off and fire off and take the lead, and Harvick struggling just a bit. Oh, the 12 car almost in the wall in turn 3 and 4. A lot of dust flying up the racetrack. He keeps it off the fence, gives up a lot of time. Harvick closes back in. Just stepped up above the groove, and there's nothing but debris up there. Right there, the right front gets in the dirt. You have to get out of the gas, slow the car down. If not, you're gonna send it right into the fence. You pick up a ton of debris, a couple corners go by before you kind of work that off of the right side tires, and then you get back to work.
As this race goes on, I think you'll be able to run up there. I think they'll eventually get that cleaned off.
Well,
right now, it's just not clean enough.
I'm sorry, Jeff. I was going to say, with all those oil leaks, you know, the speedy drive, there's a lot of debris out there that they're going to have to get blown back off.
Surprisingly, for a guy who has never won here at Bristol, this has been the racetrack that he's led the most laps. Ryan Blaney. Marty.
Hey, Rick, we wondered how Paul Wolf was going to get some track position back for Joey Logano. You see Kyle Larson going by him. What do they do on this last stop seed? They went with left side tires only here in the race last year. The last time we raced here at Bristol on the concrete, left side tire wear was a big factor. So they went with left sides on the 22 and gained them a bunch of track position.
I like the aggression for the track position. It's just always been hard for me when I put just lefts on to try to guess where the balance goes. Rights, you have a big notebook. You kind of normally know it tightens you up a little bit. Left sides, I seem to struggle, you know, making the right adjustment to match just new left side tires.
Truex just doesn't have the speed that I thought he would have. He and his teammate Kyle Busch both coming into this race. I just feel like they are 2 of the favorites, but so far tonight, not really race winning speed. This track will continue to change though, Dave.
So Ryan Blaney leading at Bristol, top of your screen. Remember what he said to Marty after the race last week at Richmond? Write it down. September 2021. I had fun at Richmond. That was a good run for them there. This track has not been much better. Richmond average finished about 22nd. His average finish here, 20th. So to come around today and have a solid run here, and again, what I talked about earlier, this not being their best round, this is a big plus for Ryan Blaney right now.
Blaney, of course, not in contention or any kind of jeopardy of not making it into the next round, as we see still a hornet's nest here. Logano, Chase Elliott, Martin Truex Jr., William Byron. And Byron's one of those drivers that's fighting to get every point he possibly can. Marty.
We've talked a lot about Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney leading right now. We better keep an eye on that 9 car of Chase Elliott. He restarted this run just a moment ago in 18th. He's sitting in 8th right now, looking at 7th right in front of him. And remember earlier, they had that speeding penalty. He went from the back all the way to the top 5. So Chase Elliott has a car they're fairly confident they can win with tonight. And he's showing it right now.
I will say, guys, lap traffic is getting more and more intense. There's a few cars out there that have had some damage, and they're a little bit more off the pace. So now you have cars that are just a couple laps down. They're racing those damaged cars, and then you have the leaders catching them. There's a really 2 big packs kind of getting stacked up.
Up in 3rd, we see Christopher Bell as we take a look at the Toyota driver update. Dave.
Rick, they made that car better earlier. It was snapping loose on late exit, and it has improved for Christopher Bell. And Steve, earlier you talked about him being good in lap traffic. I know where you learned that. It was on NASCAR America Motor Mouse. This week he talked about how sprint car racing with no spotter, he had to work his way through lots of lap traffic. And to quote him, one thing I love about Bristol is lap traffic. And I don't know if I've ever heard a driver say, I love lap traffic. Christopher Bell does.
And he's done a great job in this round to put himself in a position to advance. And we go into a round with racetracks like Las Vegas, Talladega, and the Roval that are kind of question marks for everybody. You know, they're kind of tracks where you got to be good, but also very lucky. So he's probably more under the radar than anyone else, having the most unassuming playoff run, but doing it.
Blaney, Harvick, Bell, 1, 2, 3 here at Bristol. We go NASCAR nonstop. It's NASCAR Cup Series playoffs from Bristol. This telecast presented by Applebee's, and that's how close the lead is. Blaney trying to hold off the 4 of Harvick. Harvick with momentum on the high side now.
Harvick's starting to work the higher line on corner exit. You talked about that strange line he has getting into the corner, but especially off of turn 4. Harvick's really running higher, at much higher. Look at how high he is on the exit of 4. And he's really helping him go down the front straightaway.
So when they both enter to run the top, he goes in a car length lower, but it doesn't hurt that exit. Typically, like this lower entry would make the exit slower, but he's able to maintain with the 12 car. How Rodney Childers gets this 4 car to turn with that straighter entry is beyond me, but now he's going to try to pin him behind this 6 car of David Starr, and this is his chance.
Lap traffic coming into play. Blaney able to stay in front of the 4. The bottom once again for Harvick.
Yeah, Harvick's going to stay on this bottom. Going to try to probably run the top this time. No, still on the bottom, hoping to try to block him behind these lap cars. Look at that corner exit. That's what he's hoping to do, is get on the outside of Blaney off the 4.
Close call once again there as they were going by the 53 of Garrett Smithley.
The back of Blaney's car start to move around a little bit. He's a little free.
34 Mcdowell there to your left. The last car the last car in the lead lap.
Oh, look at here, this lap traffic. It's going to be difficult. Blaney shoots the middle. But right here, both of them struggle to get off the corner.
Quinhoff also in that double zero, trying to give as much room as he can for the race leaders as they're fighting for the lead. Harvick back to the bottom.
Chris McDowell in that 20 car. This lap traffic has allowed him to close in.
Bell was looking to the inside of Harvick. Now Harvick back to the bottom of the racetrack. And McDowell trying to stay on the lead lap, but he'll go down a lap now.
Bell to the inside of the 4 car of Harvick down into turn 1 and 2. Harvick's going to have the momentum off of 2. He's going to complete that pass or keep the position.
Yeah, Harvick just got caught in a bad spot behind Josh Galicki. Once he was able to clear Josh, then he could just go back to the line that he wanted to run. Dylan.
Junior, you were talking about what Rodney Childers does to get this 4 car to roll around here so well. He credits his days as a driver himself and the things that he needed his car to do at various short tracks around the Carolinas, just kind of things that he's felt firsthand behind the steering wheel that he tries to apply here. He said visually you can watch cars go around this racetrack and see what you need them to do. So they've kind of got the dual threat. They've got the driver behind the wheel that knows what he needs out of the car. They've got that man Rodney Childers with driving experience himself who knows what the car needs to do too.
Rodney Childers, such a good crew chief. He and Kevin Harvick get along so well.
Rodney was a great driver in the short track late model ranks. Would have made it, I believe, had he got the right brakes. Harvick to the bottom is going to clear the 12. I think Blaney just said, I've had enough. Too much pressure too early in this race for me.
Harvick out front.
He lets his 4 car go by. Now it's a chance for him to learn. Maybe he sees this line, that entry, sees where the 4 cars beat him. If he can't replicate the line, he can at least say to his team, I'm getting beat here. This is what his car's doing better than mine. The light bulb goes off. I need more grip in this part of the racetrack.
Harvick out front. I think back in 2014 when they went to Stewart-Haas Racing and the 2 were paired up, Rodney Childers, Kevin Harvick. You know, that's the first time they had worked together. They go and win the championship, their first year together.
And Rick, I'll go back to the first test together. I'll never forget. We went to Charlotte, and we were all scratching our heads. They were so fast, and they haven't slowed down since.
Yep. But again, searching for that first win of 2021. Dave.
Rick, his teammate Eric Almirola has had quite a comeback tonight, and part of it is they go off of the setup of Kevin Harvick and make it right for Eric. So a lot of speed in this 10 car. But just think what they overcame, replacing the oil line earlier, drove back up through the field, made another stop to get that oil line out of the way under the hood so that he could use the electric fan under caution to keep the motor cool. And it's been 11 races. It's been a while since that New Hampshire win. In the last 11 races, the only top 10 was the win at Loudon. So they needed a good run tonight. They've had problems late in the race. Mike Bugaravich told me maybe they had their problems early here and can cap it off with a good finish.
On the top of your screen, this battle for 9th. I think the pressure of the playoffs is here and continues to build as laps wind down. Take a look right here. Alex Bowman in the 48. He had worked on the 22, worked on. Well, finally, he just says, all right, you left 3 feet. I need 6. I'm moving you up. A little bit of contact. I think that is a classic bump and run. We could give that the label. Nice bump and run.
And now Kyle Busch to the back of the 22. No love lost between these two drivers.
Joey's struggling right now.
Both running that higher line with Keselowski behind them. Mark Truex Jr. also back there. Christopher Bell now has the 5 of Larson past him.
Yeah, Larson's past the 11 and the 20 here. So he's slowly working his way up in the top 3. Long run speed of that 5 car, probably the most impressive of the field.
Different lines all around the track. Harvick, Blaney, Larson now the top 3 as we go NASCAR nonstop. What do you get when you combine a grilled cheese with a cheeseburger? The new Sonic Grilled Cheeseburger, made with 100% pure seasoned beef, ketchup, mustard, onions, Texas toast, and of course, plenty of delicious melty cheese. For a limited time only at Sonic. It's the Bass Pro Shops night race. And right now, Kevin Harvick up front. But the 5 of Kyle Larson has moved up into the 2nd spot. One driver fighting to stay in the playoffs. Marty, that 8 of Tyler Reddick, still below the cut line.
Below the cut line, and the next car that Kevin Harvick will see, and that would be to put Tyler Reddick down a lap. Remember, they had to make that 2nd stop earlier to put that lug nut on that they were missing, and here he is about to go down a lap. Steve, I don't think this would be a race ender or a playoff ender for Tyler Reddick. They go down a lap. Long way to go still. 169 laps left here at Bristol, but you certainly don't want to go down a lap if you can help it.
Yeah, a long way to go. You don't want to panic. You don't want Tyler to feel the pressure to make a mistake, but the car he's passing right now, the one of Kurt Busch, is kind of in the same situation. So 2 playoff cars as we see the battle for the lead heating up. Harvick committed to the top, the 5 of Larson to the bottom.
And Larson's got a lot of speed on the bottom. It's a huge advantage in trying to make this pass.
You guys had mentioned that dirt racing helping these guys as far as working through the lap traffic or trying to find different lines, working through slower cars. Well, Kyle Larson has been the best behind the wheel of anything on dirt, whether it be a late model or a sprint car. He has been phenomenal all season long, as well as last year when he said he probably could have won about 85 of the 96 races that he was involved in as he tried to take the lead away from Harvick here.
I think what's most impressive with the 5 car right now is what you mentioned, Jeff, is he's good on the bottom. Late in a run, when the tires are worn out, the car doesn't really love to hold that bottom groove, but he's able to make pace down there. He's keeping himself close to this 4 car as they approach lap traffic. He may be able to trap the 4 car behind some of this lap traffic. This might be an opportunity exactly right here. There he goes. Harvick behind the 66 has to give up the lead.
Larson, he just sets his left side tires almost right on that yellow line, and it just helps the car turn the corner. I've seen a lot of times this car's been to really roll the bottom like this, but then get hurt on corner exit running the bottom, but Larson's able to do it all. Rolls the middle and has tons of speed.
So we've just completed lap 337, but as we take a look at tonight's Xfinity Fastest Lap, it was done by Kyle Larson back on lap 18. So he's taken that speed that he had early on, the Xfinity Fastest Lap, on lap 18, and now he has converted it into very fast speed and race leading speed here at Bristol as he's out front of the field. Larson, Harvick, Hamlin, Blaney, and Bell, the top 5.
We just crossed over. This is now an 80-lap run, the longest of the night.
The guys that stayed out, when will we see them have to come to pit road?
They still have more than they want. They have about 90 laps of fuel burned.
So this is an interesting situation here as they're trying to lap these guys and they don't want to go a lap down. Kurt Busch especially. They do not want to go lap down, and they can make this nearly impossible for a guy like Larson. We may see that lead swap again just because Larson's going to have such a hard time trying to get around this number 1 of Kurt Busch.
Here comes Harvick, back to the back bumper.
It's going to allow Denny Hamlin to close in on these 2. Sitting there in 3rd place at the bottom of the screen. Larson back. Yeah, Larson back to the inside, but look, it's so hard to make that pass and clear this 1 car in Kurt's career, or he's not his career, but his season on the line in this moment. He goes a lap down here this late in the race.
Yeah, he's 15 points below the cut line right now as he's running, and if he does go a lap down.
Oh, the 5 trying a little slide job.
He does it. It works. He gets by Kurt Busch, and now a lap down Kurt Busch can't gain positions.
And that was textbook. He slid right up in there.
And that's the first time we've seen that, which shows you the desperation of how difficult Harvick, again, doing the same thing to the 1 as well.
Here comes Denny Hamlin.
Now Kurt Busch is going to hope that the 3 of Austin Dillon is going to race as hard as he can to stay on the lead lap. He'd be in position for the free pass.
Larson does a nice job of not sliding up so quickly that the 1 has the chance to turn left to get back underneath him. He kind of just walks his way up in front of the car.
Look at all these lap cars. Oh, Austin Dillon's going to run him tight.
Really tight.
Yeah, Austin didn't want to get trapped behind these lap cars, so he's going to run him tight right there.
Austin
Big shot.
Yeah,
Big shot in the bumper. He's like, I didn't like that.
Yep.
He's running 22nd right now. He's the last car on the lead lap. But for how long? As Larson has put the pressure on him.
All this battling has helped Tyler Reddick. You see Tyler Reddick just in front of the left side of the screen. He's able to continue that gap to the 5 car. He was able to get through this traffic pretty well.
All right, there's the lap traffic that traps the 3 and puts him a lap down. So now Kurt Busch doesn't have a free pass. That belongs to Austin Dillon.
Would have never expected that 1 car to be this far off. Kurt Busch is so good at this racetrack. The 1 car has had so much speed, but they just have not had it tonight.
Marty.
Yeah, Rick, even after that extra stop a moment ago that Matt McCall said we needed just to get the car closer in the game, Kurt said we're looser now than we've been all night long. He said the front just has not acted right from the start of this race, and you guys are dead on. Kurt Busch so good at this racetrack. In fact, many had him picked to win this race, and here he is a lap down with only 149 to go.
And the possibility of a championship, yeah, it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller as this race continues.
So Rick, you asked earlier, how long could these guys run? As we see the one of Kurt Busch, Matt McCall on the bottom of the screen, just coming up with a plan. You got to keep fighting. You can't throw the towel in. You have no idea what kind of cautions might come and when they might come and how they might benefit you. But Larson leads last on pit road at lap 254. So you see about a 100-lap run. Since last pit. Well, Harvick is 126 laps into a run. We expect 150, 160 on fuel. There was a little bit of yellow in there. So say he could run 160, 165. You're looking at 30 to 40 laps, probably 30 to 35 laps before you have to see Harvick pit.
And this is a racetrack where you don't want to come early because you possibly could get caught a lap down if there is cautions.
A lap down would be great. You're going to be caught like 3 laps down at the speed in which it happens here, 16-second laps. So you're going to lose a solid 2 if you're the leader, maybe only 2 if you're farther back, maybe even 3.
Reddick also now a lap down of the playoff drivers as we go NASCAR nonstop. That's Quinn Houff, and the left rear tire gone. And he has brought out the caution. That's the 6th caution of the night here at Bristol. And so the field will bunch back up. They'll get ready to come to pit road, and we'll have another restart.
Looks like a left rear tire issue. Getting into turn 3 there. Man, he spins this thing around, Jeff, and look at the pit road entrance right here.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr., he's like, I got to miss him, and then he gets on pit road and gets the car almost spun out, overcorrected it. Didn't hit the wall. Yeah, it was close.
Didn't make contact with anything.
It did. He did get lapped on pit road, though.
He did. He lost a lap there with the 47 car. Wild ride for all those guys.
So now Ross Chastain. There are 18 cars on the lead lap. Briscoe was the first one scored a lap down. Potentially will get the free pass. Reddick, Kurt Busch, both a lap down of the playoff drivers, as well as Michael McDowell.
Everybody wanted a caution, though. I mean, it was such a long green flag run. Everybody's begging to come in here and get some tires, get some adjustments.
When these adjustments can be the most important, within 136 laps to go, I mean, they can make it from here on fuel. So we don't know what kind of race we're going to see with yellows and all the different things that could happen. But, you know, potentially this can be the last stop. And I think that has to change your mindset as a crew chief and as a pit crew member. You gotta make sure you get those wheels nice and tight. You can't have a vibration on this last stop.
Crew's getting ready, and pit stops underway. Dylan.
You guys were talking about how good Larson's car was rotating through the center of the corner. Kyle certainly echoed that, said that's the best we've been on the long run by far. Really, really happy with this 5 car. 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel, no changes, Marty.
Boy, Dylan, you got to give credit to Greg Ives. He has taken several massive swings in this 48 car, and it has worked. Alex Bowman said, I'm pretty happy with it. No changes this time for the 48 after a ton of changes tonight. Great stop by the 11. Denny Hamlin matching Kyle Larson's long run speed. Said I just need a little bit more rear grip on the end of that run, Dave.
On a pit road, Ryan Blaney said that the front doesn't stay in the track like the 4 does, referring to Harvick. The 24, the entry is fine, about a 3 tight off. And the 10 car, one of the fastest on the track. He'll just get the 4 tires and fuel. No adjustments for Eric Almirola.
Saw the 20 of Christopher Bell miss his pit stall.
Backed
back up.
Yeah, backed up into it, right?
We saw a sub 14-second pit stops. Larson holds on to the lead. .132 laps to go. NASCAR Cup Series playoffs from Bristol. It's telecast presented by Applebee's.
Seen several mistakes in these playoffs. Here's another one for Christopher Bell. Was running 5th, came on pit road, did not find his pit sign, drove by it, had to put it in reverse and get himself into his pit box. See right here, just simply did not see it.
Getting ready to choose either on inside or outside line. Larson, Hamlin, Harvick, and Kyle Busch now up inside the top 4.
It is hard to choose that bottom. Watching these guys go to the bottom line and they know that it's just not the line that's been competitive on these restarts.
Take a look again at the Cup playoff standings presented by Xfinity. With only 131 laps to go now, time running out. William Byron, he's 13 points below that line. Kurt Busch, 16, 18 for Reddick, 56 for Mcdowell. And Logano has locked up a spot in the round of 12.
34 cars still on the racetrack, though. You're not safe. An issue will cost you, 25, 30 points.
130 laps to go. Harvick Harvick holds on to third.
Oh, there's contact. Back in the back, William Byron gets moved up the racetrack. Things sort themselves out. Very close call for several guys there.
Close call for the lead. Hamlin right on the back bumper now. Larson trying to hold him off.
We've seen this before. The 5 car not good on the short run. Hamlin is. He's trying to take advantage of it while he can.
Kyle Busch trying to hold off the 9 and the 12. Blaney on the outside. He's going to go by. Chase Elliott also trying to use that high line to get by Kyle Busch.
See Alex Bowman joining this fight for fourth. Alex Bowman's doing a nice job tonight. And a night where William Byron's done a good job. Alex Bowman's had to answer the call, try to get himself to the next round of the playoffs. Sitting there running 7th, doing all he needs to right now.
Bowman came in tied with Kurt Busch right at the cut line. Kurt Busch was above it. Bowman was below it. Now Bowman above that cut line. Kurt Busch below it. Marty.
Yeah, Rick, we gave credit to Greg Ives a moment ago for all the changes he's made on the 48. How about some credit to the driver as well, staying in the ball game. And he told Greg Ives before this race, I do not want to know all night long the point situation until it comes late in the race. Well, it's a good thing Greg Ives didn't tell him earlier, because it was not looking very good for the 48. But now you see left-hand side of your screen, right side of the cut line, plus 11. And one driver between them too, with Eric Almirola sitting there above the cut line as well. They've done a terrific job with the 48. Now they need to finish it off.
Dave, how about the car right behind him in the 24?
Yeah, he shouldn't be back there, Rick. He lost 3 spots on pit road. We were showing you how Christopher Bell had to go to the outside of the 12 of Ryan Blaney when he missed that pit. Behind them, William Byron was also stacked up and lost 3 spots. So it's such a tight pit road. When one problem happens, sometimes they affect others, and Byron's fighting back.
It's 8 positions that separate Byron from the other side of the cut line.
Just behind Byron, 2 new names inside the top 10. We got Bubba Wallace in the 23 and 9th, and we have Matt DiBenedetto in the 10th position in the 21 car. These 2 guys have kind of just done what they needed. You hate to say hang around, but that's what they did. They hung around all night without damage and ended up inside the top 10 here with about 120 to go.
When I talked to Bubba Wallace on Wednesday, he said, you know, it was frustrating because Richmond, all of the Joe Gibbs Racing drivers were running so well. At one point in time, they were running 1, 2, 3, 4. He said, we had an issue early. He said, I think I could have been competitive at Richmond. I know we're capable of running better. And right now, showing it here at Bristol, up inside the top 10 running 9th.
Yeah, had that damage to the right front we mentioned earlier. Booty Barker, now the crew chief of the 23 car. Mike Wheeler taking the role solely as competition director. He was kind of dual role.
Hamlin already running that high line now, trying to get some momentum to catch back up to Larson. Things heating up between teammates on the bottom of your screen. That battle for 7th. William Byron has caught up to Bowman.
It seems like on new tires, everybody loves to run that bottom. That top comes in later in the run here, but with new tires and the temperature dropping, has to be affecting this racetrack.
All right, guys, let's go through the field, brought to you by KFC. We'll start with Dylan.
And you see Kyle Larson here in that fierce battle again with Denny Hamlin, talking with Cliff Daniels before the race. One of the things that he credited with their success this year is Kyle's ability to just strategize his own race. He said he's very mature in that sense. That goes back to a lot of what you guys were talking about.
We got the car on the wall. 0 in the fence in the middle of turn 3 and 4. Cut a left front tire going down the back straightaway. Slides down the racetrack.
Hold the brake, buddy. There you go.
A lot of damage to this 0.
Yeah, the right front's flat now, but down the back straightaway, a lot of sparks out the left front into turn 3, and look at the contact with the wall, how it bends the wheel, knocks all the air out of the right front. So here it is. There you see the sparks.
So Quinn Houff,
yeah, flat early.
he brings out the caution. It's the 7th one of the night here at Bristol.
With only 18 laps right there run currently, you expect the leaders at the front of the pack to stay out. Tires just haven't been a huge point, as you pointed out earlier, Junior. So is this an advantage for guys towards the back of the lead lap, you know, to come in, get a little bit fresher tires, make an adjustment?
AMR guys out checking on the driver out of Wayers Cave, Virginia. 24-year-old Quinn Houff will climb out of that car and make the mandatory visit to the infield care center.
Yeah, Quinn Houff hated to see this, but someone that loved to see it was Tyler Reddick. Tyler Reddick, first car lap down, so he'll get the free pass back in the ball game.
So now it really just comes down to a decision of if you come or not.
So tell me, do you come?
If I'm in the top 10, I don't.
Okay.
I think the decision is really for Logano, Bell, Priest, 14th, 15th, 16th. That's where the decision is going to be made.
Crew chiefs will be making that decision. We'll be right back. Ryan Blaney giving up that 5th spot. Kyle Busch in 6th. They both came to pit road and in front of their crews. Dylan.
So Kyle Busch has obviously been battling a tight condition. A couple stops ago, though, they made enough changes that it was too loose. Kyle said fired off too loose on that run, too. So more of the same adjustments she made last time to his crew chief in Bayshore. 4 tires and fuel for the 18. And there's the chassis adjustment, Marty.
Yeah, Dylan Steve made the call. Joey Logano coming to pit road. Paul Wolf making that call. Running in 14th, and they really have not been able to get the handling right since losing all that track position early in the race. No problems, though, with that right rear that they had on the first stop of the night, Dave.
The mind of crew chief Todd Gordon. He knows how well the 12 handled on old tires. Remember that run that he ran so well, led laps. So we'll see here if he goes to the end. Still working a little bit on getting the front end of that car just right.
Split strategies once again. Blaney, Larson, Hamlin, Bubba Wallace, Harvick all staying out on the racetrack. Keselowski, Bell, Chase Elliott, Bowman, and Byron also. We'll be right back.
The closing lap at Bristol, and it's any man for himself.
The bump and run! There it is! We've seen this before between these two.
Labonte is sideways but wins the race!
I'm not apologizing. If I had it to do over again, I might just hit him harder.
Didn't mean to really turn around, meant to rally his gauge over.
The bump and run, the Bristol move.
Definitely a famous move here at Bristol. That bottom line so coveted. And we've seen so many drivers that have decided, well, I've waited long enough, I'm going to move you out of the way. They bump, and they run right past. Rutledge.
Rick, I'm up here on the spotter stand. We know how crucial the spotters are to this race, but I'm wondering, Jeff Burton, how crucial are spotters like these to keep tempers calm especially when you have two drivers like Bowman and Byron there racing together against each other for those spots that are so important. How important is the spotter there at that moment?
Yeah, the spotter can be a huge person. They set the tempo. They can really help the driver with his emotion. Now, listen, I've had drivers that have spotters that have too much emotion, right? They get you fired up. They get you in trouble. So you really got to know the personality of your driver, and that crew chief and driver personality, they need to match. And the driver and the spotter need to know when to pump each other up.
Yeah, I was going to say, sometimes when the drivers are beating on each other out there, the spotters are the ones instigating it. Not keeping the drivers calm. Some of the spotters will push their guy to continue to beat and bang a little bit.
And that's that driver in some of those spotters that come out.
Some of those drivers still got that competitiveness in them.
And very excited about after the race, NASCAR America post-race show. Obviously interviews of drivers and chat with those that didn't advance, as well as the ones that will advance into the round of 12. So Harvick once again has gone to the bottom of the racetrack. Larson and Hamlin shows that higher line. This time Harvick a little better restart.
I was going to say, Rick, that's the best inside line. His launch still going to lose a couple spots here. But as we get later into this race, those restarts are absolutely going to be more competitive.
He slots back into the third position as Hamlin all over the back bumper again of Larson. Now looks to the inside. Larson stays a little higher for the lead.
Struggling with grip on the back of the 5 car right here. All night long, they just haven't had the takeoff speed, being able to fire off as well as this 11 of Denny Hamlin. Now they're side by side down the back straightaway into turn 3. Larson dives down into 3. Trying to keep that 11 car low on the track. A little contact right there with the right front flat on the 11.
11 up into the wall. Right front down. Caution comes out.
Caution. Keep it up there.
That contact did it. And these are two drivers that are locked into the round of 12, but definitely playoff points on the line.
Aggressive driving right here. You see Hamlin comes off of turn 4. They make contact, and immediately, right there, the right front's down.
That's an unfortunate situation for Denny Hamlin in the 11 car, but the positive, I believe, to this is that the caution comes out. If he has to come to pit road to fix that issue under green, that's 2 laps they're going to lose on the racetrack.
And you wonder how hard he hit right there, though. How much did it damage the car? No damage there other than it cut the right front tire, but right here, hit the wall, and that could be a big suspension issue there.
Take a look.
Yeah, we got a pit. Full fender.
And by the way, the one of Kurt Busch is going to get the free pass.
Let's listen to the 5 car.
Larson.
He got enemy down the front stretch. Yeah, it's in forward. Not really sure why he decided to do that. The fender, our quarter panel is definitely damaged a little bit. I don't think it's into the tire, but I'll look at it.
See the Goodyear missing on that left rear tire.
Look at that brace right there, Steve.
Oh, boy.
That's sticking out.
You think that maybe cuts the tire?
That cuts the 11 car's tire,
right,
and it possibly could be a problem for anyone else.
I don't know if it bubbles up like that, but it's bubbled up pretty good, you know what I'm saying?
And
A lot of wrinkles to it.
It could get into the left rear tire of this 5 car. It's unsecure from that's basically a brace that mounts to the bottom of the quarter panel. It's come unsecure from that quarter panel, and now that brace can move and do whatever it wants to do. Dylan.
And so, Junior, one thing that Kyle said right away on the radio is he said it wasn't smoking, but I went into the corner after we hit and ran the middle, so I don't know how it's going to be when we run the bottom. So is that something where when you load up more down there in that bottom groove that it could potentially rub and cause a bigger problem?
I don't think it's going to rub. Just looking at it from here, I don't believe we're going to have any contact with Latard. What do you think? You're a crew chief on top of the box. When you look at this, what are you thinking?
I think we're fine. I think we're going to stay out. The damage looks pretty clean on top of the tire, a little bit behind. The other thing that makes the decision a lot easier, my name's in yellow. We know we're advancing to the playoffs, so we're here to try to win a race and keep the momentum. Marty.
And Steve, I think that certainly played a factor. Two drivers who had already advanced. They're going to play this race as aggressively as they possibly can. Denny Hamlin said the wheel is perfectly straight, so he's not worried about that. The only thing Chris Gabehart is worried about, that right front fender. You see them working on that. Also the right rear, making sure it is cleared from the Goodyear tires that they will put on the car. They now have put on the car for Denny Hamlin. So the wheel is straight, so no suspension damage for the 11. Two drivers who've already advanced, fighting for another win here at Bristol, make contact.
The only other issue I think they have or could have is where that splitter is. All right, that splitter's bent, it's moved, it's not where it was originally on the right front. Is it low? Is it going to make contact with the track? Or is it going to be okay for Denny Hamlin when he goes into the corner and really travels that right front?
There was enough damage on that right front where they couldn't get the right front tire on it. They had to really pull the fender out, keep working on it. I think he hit pretty hard.
Got something bent or broke, I think.
You heard him. Got something bent or broke, I think.
That was Denny.
Yeah, that's what I think is, to your point, the steering wheel can be straight, Jeff, but I mean, that was a hard hit.
Denny crew discussing it.
And Denny exits pit road, back up onto the racetrack. He's going to drive around, catch up.
All right, Dylan, I know we teased it earlier, but let's go through the field, brought to you by KFC, and we'll do it while we're under caution.
And obviously discussions ongoing between Kyle Larson and crew chief Cliff Daniels here about this damage that they suffered. Cliff doing a great job reassuring Kyle. Kyle asking what he can do to help clearance the tire at all. Cliff said, think we're good here, man. Said that may make the car a little bit looser just based on where that damage is, but not too bad. Should be fine. Kyle Larson, or rather Kevin Harvick behind Kyle Larson in the second spot, putting together another really solid Bristol day. Obviously, he and Rodney Childers, we've talked about how good and how confident they feel at this racetrack. They've worked on this car all day long, got it right where they want it right now. Marty.
Chase Elliott talked about coming into this race just needing a clean race, Dylan. Well, they didn't exactly have that. They had the speeding penalty early, but here he is. He's rallied up to third with a shot to get a win at Bristol, a points-paying win. Remember, he won the All-Star race. He's never won a points-paying race here. How about his teammate, Alex Bowman? We talked about the struggles early in the race, and now he sits here, 95 to go, with a shot to win. He always said, Bristol, not my best racetrack. We usually hang around the rim. We're in the top 10, but they have a shot to win, Dave.
William Byron on the outside looking in now, wanted to know where they stood points-wise. Crew Chief Rudy Fugle gave him the information, but said there's a long ways to go and a lot could change. Dylan?
Behind him, Matt DiBenedetto runs in the 6th spot. 2 years ago, came to this race in a similar situation. Wasn't sure what his future was at the end of the upcoming season. Well, here he is again, putting together another really solid Bristol day. Has hung around all day. Runs in the 6th spot. Great position for him to try to capitalize. Behind him, Kyle Busch in the 18. He's been tight. He's been loose. He's kind of been all over the place today, but finally feel like they've got that car a little bit closer, close enough to maybe get up here and challenge for a win. Kyle's playoff position good right now. He's plus 21, so no worries there, Dave.
If you're Martin Truex Jr.'s team, what car do you bring to Bristol? Well, the Bristol car. Yeah, the one that ran on dirt, cleaned it up, rebodied it, and it's fast tonight too. Eric Jones, two-time winner in the Xfinity Series here, running in the 9th position, and in 10th, the 23 of Bubba Wallace, trying to score a great victory, finishing in the top 10 for 23XI Racing.
Great job, guys, as we're getting ready for the restart. It'll be Chase Elliott on the inside and Kyle Larson outside of him. We'll see what the 4 of Kevin Harvick now does. He's on the outside. William Byron on the inside of row 2, and that outside lane launches very well. But what about Chase Elliott in the 9? He's going to be able to hold on to second and puts the bumper to the 5.
We've seen all night the 5 just does not take off the speed that some other guys do. Chase Elliott trying to take this lead.
Larson stays up high, Elliott down low. Now Larson clears him. Coming up on 90 laps to go. first 2 races of this round of the playoffs were won by Joe Gibbs Racing, and everyone was asking the question, have they caught up to Hendrick? Well, right now you have Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman, William Byron all inside the top 6. Hendrick looking very strong here tonight at Bristol.
Well, on the left-hand side, we're showing where the 4 Hendrick cars are running for William Byron in the 24, currently in the 6th position. It couldn't get any tighter as the battle for the lead continues to heat up. Only 2 points below the cut line. Eric Almirola 2 points above.
Elliott for the lead. Trying to take it away from his teammate. He clears him.
I mentioned Eric Almirola. He's lost 4 positions on this restart. That's, you know, every position's going to matter. It's such a tight point battle. Marty, what do you have on the 9 car?
Well, it's taken the entire night, but Chase Elliott finally back up front after recovering from that speeding penalty early in the night. And you know, I think there was a sense of urgency behind the wheel in the 9 car to get Larson early in this run because, number one, as you guys have mentioned, he felt like he had better speed on the early side of the run. But Chase Elliott has said all night long, this car is too edgy for me to run up high. Junior, that high line seems to be what's working late in the run. So I think Elliott thought, if I'm going to get the lead, I need to do it now.
Yeah, I think all these Hendrick cars look a little edgy at the start of the runs, but they've certainly worked on this 9 car and improved it. The grip on the bottom of the racetrack, he's really liking that, but when he moves out of that traction compound, just doesn't have overall grip he's looking for.
Things heating up now at the cut line. Almirola only 1 spot to the good as William Byron just 1 position below.
I'm really surprised at how well the bottom of this racetrack's hung in there. You know, typically we see the traction compound wear away and not be an issue, you know, not be something that the drivers use at the end of the race. But every time these guys come down pit road and put on new tires, the bottom is where they all run for the very, you know, first several laps until someone moves up to the top and finds some speed. Right now, all the top 10 are down there.
Really tip the cap and an attaboy to the 10 crew. Think about what they have done tonight, where there was an oil line that was leaking. Eric Almirola potentially could have been out of this race early on and maybe out of contention of making it into the playoffs or advancing to the round of 12 in the playoffs. But they've kept him in there. He's been fighting, and right now he's still 1 spot to the good as far as the playoffs are concerned.
Yeah, fortunately for him, the 8 of Tyler Reddick looks like he has a little bit more pace, and he's 7 below the cut line, so he's trying to find some spots in the last 79 laps of this race. Currently 18th. Got the free pass, got some new tires on that 8, trying to find his way up.
Chase Elliott leading. We look at Byron and Almirola on either side of the cut line. Where they're running. Byron up front, running 5th. Eric Almirola 17th and about to go back to 18th. When that happens, they'll be tied. Go back to the best finishes in the round to determine the tiebreaker if it does end in a points tie. Well, contact made there.
It was 76 to go in your Millis point race. It feels like your whole life is on the line. The pressure is unbelievable. You want to be in the playoffs next round of it so badly, and you know how close it is. It's so pressure filled. Every little mistake just seems like it magnifies.
Tiebreaker between the 10 and 24 would go to the 24 right now as far as the best finish in this round. So that fight continues. Elliott out front as we go NASCAR nonstop. saw it all in NASCAR nonstop. The 8 gets by the 10. They're tied in points. This aerial coverage brought to you by Geico as we look down on the world's fastest half mile. And now Almirola and Byron tied in points. William Byron with a better finish in this round has the nod as far as if it ends this way, Byron would advance to the round of 12.
Rick, it doesn't matter how many of these playoffs we do or how many of these cut races we cover. Miraculously, it seems to come down so close to a tie. I mean, we had ties at the Roval, ties at the Dover cut race. We've seen it at Talladega. Let's listen in to the 24.
We're in an okay spot right here because the 10's dropping. Just need to make sure we keep our fronts underneath us and keep building the gap. Keep charging, but don't ruin it.
They know what's happening as far as the playoffs and advancing. But as a race car driver, William Byron, challenging one of the best ever here at Bristol, would like that spot. So we see Harvick now putting pressure on the 9 of Chase Elliott.
And he's coming to life the last couple laps.
Chase is going to have to change what he's doing in 1 and 2. Harvick's got that outside working really well. There he goes. Chase went to the top, forced Harvick to the bottom.
Well, remember, Kevin Harvick, this is a 35 race winless streak, the longest streak he's had since driven for SHR. His last win was here a year ago. So much has been made about the lack of speed of the 4 car. I thought we had a telling interview earlier today when kind of pointed question by Dylan Welch. He said, hey, you know, what about the struggles? And he said, you know, I don't think we're that far off once we get the balance right. We just don't unload close enough. But here they are late in the race, 59 to go. They got the bounce where they want it. Can he make a run?
I had a conversation with him this week, and I said, all right, man, how do you approach this race, where you guys are? And he said, Jeff, it's just another race, just another year. Everything's fine. We're going to be okay. And he knows it's a challenge. He knows that they're behind, but his calmness is just amazing.
William Byron was able to clear Kyle Busch. So Byron up to 4th now, and that gives him a 1-point cushion over that cut line. Talked about the calm demeanor of Kevin Harvick, probably the fact that he is a 45-year-old veteran, the eldest of the competitors in the playoffs this year, coming off a season that a lot thought was definitely his best season ever, 9 wins a year ago. And then everyone's scratching their head as to how he doesn't get to victory lane in 2021. But now, as he challenges the 9 of Chase Elliott, potentially that first win just 54 laps away.
What you do if you got a guy like Chase running that high line and running it really well, you kind of sit there and wait for him to make a mistake. You see guys push a little bit too hard and jump into the dirt. You also can wait on some opportunities in lap traffic, but almost saw the 9 car jump the cushion there in front of the 4 the lap before. And but just sit there and be patient and wait for that opportunity to happen. Don't burn your car up. Don't burn the front tires up. Don't burn the rear tires up trying to make a pass that can't be made. Oh, that's tough right there. Lap traffic costing 4 car a lot of problems right there, and allows Larson to close in.
Yeah, keep your eye on the 5. He's been very good on long runs. We'll see if he's able to take advantage of that momentum lost by Kevin Harvick.
Still, Larson, you saw him in 3 and 4 on the bottom. What he does when he runs the top, he doesn't leave on the top. He leaves on the bottom. The top 3 cars, top 3 drivers, all driving completely different. Completely different lines. All fast.
Larson trying to get back in the mix here. Top 3 separating themselves. Elliott, Harvick, and Larson.
Harvick entering a little bit lower than 9. The 9 exits a little bit lower. The 5 car running the very bottom of the racetrack the last couple of corners.
Larson back just about a half a second behind Elliott, as Elliott has his focus on the 4 of Harvick.
Look how deep Harvick gets in the corner. Drives right up to the bumper here. Lap after lap after lap. Lap traffic right here in front of this 9 car. Chase is going to turn down low, exit on the bottom. Good job there.
It's almost what Harvick's going to have to do is just keep himself in position with this 9 car and wait for an opportunity with lap traffic.
That's it.
Just so hard to make that pass with Chase running the top.
If it's just him and Chase on the racetrack by themselves, he doesn't make the pass. You know, Chase has got great pace. Look at him roll around the bottom, though. Oh, my goodness. That maybe eat my words.
Yeah, get by him.
He can't get the throttle, can't finish the throttle off of 2, and the outside car just drives right back by. But Chase sees that now. He's like, oh, man, about lost the lead. We got an issue with 18 here.
Got a flat, guys. He's got a flat tire.
Got the right front tires down.
Right front flat.
There's only 22 points, so you look on the left, it's quickly dropping. 18, 17, 15, you're watching it live, 13, 12, as he's on pit road. Now he's behind Bowman. Their playoff hopes going away with a flat tire, 44 to go.
How far will he go down?
That's her up, just to the right, just to the right.
Right side tires.
Now the issue is he's now 1 lap down, so he's going to continue to lose points. There are another 4 cars 1 lap down. Suarez, Busch, or McDowell could all pass Kyle Busch. Continues to lose, now only +2.
And a great job by Kyle Busch and his spotter, knowing the rules. So many times we see people pit under green and don't know the rules, and as soon as they leave their side of the pit road, they can take off. There is no more speeding opportunity in that corner. They knew the rules, accelerated, did everything right.
But the problem,
sounds like a simple thing, but I've seen so many people do it wrong.
But the problem for him right now is he's trapped 2 laps down. He needs to race as hard as he can and try to pass those cars right in front of him. The leaders, to get back to 1 lap down. 2 laps down, it's kind of a difficult thing to come back from this late in the race, 40 laps to go. If he can get the 1 down and get a yellow really quickly, make it a possibility to get away by. These guys could come to pit road, but he does not want to be 2 laps down.
And we know he has newer tires, but he just has right sides. That was the right thing to do, though, just put right sides on. But how is the car going to drive just with right sides?
Right, and at this point, as we watch this battle for the lead, I go back to Almirola. Remember, that is basically the reference. He's the first car out, and he's back there in 18th. He has to try to find 2 or 3 spots. You see him on the bottom of your screen. Just not the night he's hoping for. Actually, right now, getting pressure from Ross Chastain behind him. No real positions in front of him. He has a big distance to the 3 car of Dillon, almost half a straightaway.
And as far as Kyle Busch's playoff hopes, there is 1 car that's the buffer. William Byron right now. That's below him in 12th. Kyle Busch currently 8th or 11th in the standings as he tries to get by the 9 and the 4. A little fresher left side tires. Right side tires for the 18. As they came in and changed those.
There he goes.
He got back to 1 lap down.
Chase is trying not to let this be a situation where he loses the lead. Harvick has an opportunity down here to roll this bottom, though.
Chase hard into the turn. Harvick, can he clear him? He's got a lap car in front of the 9.
Whoa.
They stay tight up the racetrack.
Contact.
The 4 of Harvick got into the side of the 9. Here comes Larson. 34 laps to go.
That's aggressive racing. Larson down on that bottom now.
Oh, I think the 9 has a flat. The 9, flat left front of the 9.
Flat, yep.
And here he comes. Come on down, it's flat.
He tries to get down. He does under green. And Elliott continues to fall back.
They're going to change 4 tires on this car.
I think it happened so quick, Dale. They didn't know which tire was flat until it was too late. That's a disadvantage of having the second stall in on that front stretch pit road.
Well, the advantage for the 9 that he's advanced. He's not.
Pull that out. Behind the tire, pull it out.
Yeah, he's going to advance, but what it does is it's shaking up the other drivers right there at the cut line. Almirola now 1 point back.
Right side tailpipes on the 4. They're just in front of that right rear tire. I would have to imagine that's exactly what got into that left front tire on the 9 as they went up the racetrack and made contact.
William Byron running in the 3rd position. Still has enough points. He's now 2 points ahead of the 10 of Almirola. Now it's back to 1.
But the concern is Aric Almirola has points available, many of them, if he can just find a little bit of pace.
To get by Ross Chastain, Bubba Wallace, guys that are just in front of him.
Unfortunately, Chastain's going the other way. He's going by the 10.
And that makes it 2 points.
Yeah, these two guys have been racing around each other for the last 40 laps. Chase Elliott comes out on the racetrack 3 laps down, right behind the leader, trying to get back one of those laps, and I think he'll do it pretty quickly. Harvick, though, drove away from the 5 car.
Oh, we have a car slow in the front stretch.
Oh, look at this, the 9 of Elliott.
Well, Chase Elliott is not happy with Kevin Harvick. He said this happens all the time with that guy. He's not going to race him very nicely for the rest of this night.
Well, he showed his frustration right there, was right up next to Harvick as we see damage to the 20 of Bell.
Yeah, Christopher Bell's got some big problems coming to pit road.
Another car not locked in. Huge damage to the right side, and just like Kyle Busch on the left-hand side, you're going to see Bell continuing to lose points as he's on pit road. I'm not sure left side to the call. I think the right front is actually flat on this 20 car. Yeah, now they're going to go to the right side tires. Big damage, and they're going to lose multiple laps sitting on pit road.
Let's go! Tires! Put tires on the car!
You hear the frustration.
Adam Stevens told me today we can have problems late because we know where we stand, but they can't have problems this late and problems this big, Steve. This is huge.
It is currently plus 12. He's sitting in the 25th position, so he should be okay as long as he gets back on the racetrack, doesn't have a penalty.
Yeah, if he can keep the car in one piece, he looks like he'll fall to maybe 27. Yaley is 28, but 5 laps down.
And while all that's happened, the lead's tightened up, guys. The 4 car, there you see it on the screen.
And Chase Elliott's not going to make it easy on Kevin Harvick right here. We saw Chase Elliott. We saw how mad he was. He took a swipe at Harvick.
Oh, right
That's
front
what happened
tire
to Bell.
down on the 20 car there. He goes up, makes contact with a slower car.
Coming up on 20 laps to go. Harvick, Larson, William Byron. Take a listen to the 4 audio.
He's mad, but I don't know why he's mad at us. I mean, if he didn't block all the friction time, focus here, go get him here.
How hard do you race against the 9 right now if you're Harvick?
Well, the problem is you got the 5 behind you. You got Larson trying to pass you, trying to put pressure on you for the win. You've got to go.
And on the bottom, the 10 of Aric Almirola, currently 17th, but only 1 point out. He is running down the 23 of Bubba Wallace in a big way, making big gains. And the 20 back on pit road. Dave.
I think this is the worst the 10 car has been all night. Aric has been silent on the radio. Over 100 laps on those tires now. But as you said, he's chasing down Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace may fall victim to being that guy who's not in the playoffs, getting used up by a guy who needs at least 1 position. Almirola has the 23. The 42's already gotten by him. The next car is the 3 of Austin Dillon. He's far out ahead of the 10.
Yeah, the 37, though, of Preece is right here as well. And if he goes by him, that's another position and another point he's going to lose.
Preece is faster than Almirola. Just don't know if he can make that pass.
What have I got to get? Who have I got to get? Need 2 points. Need 24. 2 points. So 2 positions.
2 points, 2 positions. Race the whole season, and here you are in the cutoff race in the first round, and you need to find 2 positions at Bristol.
And Byron has to stay in his current location.
That's a great point, Rick. He could easily lose 2. I mean, we've seen everybody else have issues around here.
Nobody's putting pressure on William Byron right now. He's kind of all by himself. Ryan Blaney is a good 12, 14 car lengths behind him.
And now 13 laps to go. Harvick still has a half a second lead over Larson. And now another car has gone by Almirola, but Almirola fighting back.
Yeah, Almirola's got to stay real aggressive right here. Got to race this 37 like it's for a race win. You said it, Steve. Bubba Wallace right up in front.
I'll tell you who also could be involved in this, Reddick.
I was getting ready to say.
Reddick needs to pass 3 guys, and he's up there.
And he's running the top of half a straightaway behind Matty D and the 22 and the 11. So there are points, and the 21 and the 22 make contact in front of him, Marty.
And they told Tyler Reddick, you need 2 more cars is all you need. You see right there, -2 now, -2 for Almirola as well. And for the last 5 laps, Tyler Reddick has been top 3 fastest cars on the track. A lot of people still in the game.
Reddick's going to have to get by Logano and Matt DiBenedetto. They're the 2 cars in front of him that would give him those 2 points.
Oh, Almirola on the outside of Bubba Wallace.
So many battles. Currently, we have Harvick leading about 3/4 of a second over Larson, but it's these battles that are going to determine the playoff positions. Almirola to the rear bumper of the 23. What will he do? How patient will he be?
Tyler Reddick, if it was a tie between Byron and Reddick, it would go to Byron based upon this finish. If Byron can hang on and get that 3rd spot here at Bristol tonight. Under 10 laps to go, 8 laps remaining. Harvick still with now a 4/10 of a second lead over Larson.
The 10 is working. Oh, contact with the 37 of Priest.
The battle for the lead. Kevin Harvick still 2 car lengths in front of the 5.
He's having trouble. Yeah, Harvick's having trouble getting around the 9 car, Chase Elliott. And that's giving Larson the opportunities to the inside. Down the back straightaway, side by side. Harvick's going to have the momentum off the top of the racetrack.
Harvick still has the lead. Now 5 laps to go, but he also knows Chase Elliott not happy the way he was raced earlier.
Harvick
Here comes
got the
Larson
marbles.
again.
Harvick got the marbles, just a little bit off of 2 there.
Priest is almost clear of Almirola. There's so much to watch. I don't know which screen to look at.
Well, Reddick is right to the rear bumper of the 22. I thought he made contact.
The 5's going to have a big run right here down the back straightaway.
He looks to the inside for the lead. Larson tries to do the slide job. Not enough room.
He does it.
Harvick crosses over. Now puts the bumper to the back of the 5. Under 3 laps to go. William Byron coming into the picture. Larson up to the high side. Harvick only 2 more laps to try to get back by Larson. And he's closed the gap. A big run by Larson. Dives into turn 3. Harvick follows him in. Out of 4, Larson with a 2-car length lead, 1 lap to go. Harvick charging hard. Larson, now Elliott on the inside of Harvick. Watch for that. Larson clears him. Out of 4, Larson's going to win at Bristol.
What a race! Let's go!
William Byron in the 3rd position will get the last transfer spot into the next round. And look at these 2 on pit road.
Tyler Reddick, 2 points back from advancing out of this round into the round of 12. 2 positions, couldn't find them on the racetrack, as we see still Elliott and Harvick.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting with these 2 getting to talk. I think Harvick's going to try to shadow this 9 car down pit road.
Chase Elliott, he's going to end up 25th. And quickly getting the helmet off. Both drivers climbing out quickly. Harvick keeps his helmet on.
Officials have now gathered around them, putting out their arms. They are having words. Harvick, you see Chase Elliott trying to explain something with his hand motions. Harvick still has his helmet on at the moment. And no physical contact. It looks like Harvick is now turning his shoulders
mentioned emotions at Bristol flaring up here, as you can see Harvick is getting more and more agitated. Larson celebrating. It's win number 6 for Kyle Larson. Chase Elliott walks away. Well, we knew something was going to get thrown at Bristol, and it looks like it was Harvick's gloves. Marty.
Wow, Rick, where do you start with this one? Let's start with the winner, Kyle Larson, who makes it happen with a pass on Kevin Harvick. I know the Bristol one's important to you, but how did you get that done, Kyle?
Yeah, that was an awesome race. It was so cool to be able to race there for the win. And obviously Harvick and Chase got together, and Chase was upset and kind of held him up. And it got Harvick having to move around and use his tires up off the bottom. And I started to get some diamonds working off 1 and 2, and just got a big run and decided to pull the trigger and slide him and squeeze him a little bit. So, and then he had me jacked up down the front stretch, and it was wild. But had my hands full, and just thanks to Valvoline and everybody who helps on this Hendrick Motorsports car. Beautiful paint scheme. We got 2 wins with it this year. So thanks to Valvoline. Thanks, Mr. H. I wish you were here. Thanks for the ride today. But so cool.
I think these fans love this racing. How about winning one in front of the Bristol fans, Kyle?
This place is by far my favorite track, and this is why. You guys are amazing, loud. We feel the energy while we're out there racing. So thanks to every one of you for spending your hard-earned money to come watch us put on a show, and I look forward to the rest of the year.
Kyle Larson, a big win here in the round of 16 in front of the Bristol fans who loved this one. Rick.
Big smiles out of Kyle Larson, and let's go now to Dylan.
And Kevin Harvick, of course, not happy with Chase Elliott. So let's start there. What was the conversation between you and Chase after the race?
I just told him, it was kind of a chicken move that he did there at the end. We're racing for the freaking win at Bristol. We're 3 wide in the middle, and he throws a temper tantrum like I was just trying to get the lead and racing hard. And then he pulls up in front of me and just sits there until I lose the whole lead. So, just hate it for our Subway Ford Mustang team. To be able to lose a race like that. And I watched him let the 24 go by, and then anytime you run into him, it's a problem. So they can boo all they want. I don't care.
How much of this is compounded by the fact that you were so close to winning and to have it slip away, but then also what happened when he went by you again?
Yeah, well, I lost so much there, and then when I got behind the car, I kept getting tied off the corner, and I couldn't run my line. So I'm ready to rip somebody's freaking head off.
It's Bristol, baby. Dave?
Let's hear from Chase Elliott. He's down here now. You don't feel you were raced very well by Kevin there?
Oh, well, it's something he does all the time. He runs into your left side constantly at other tracks, and sometimes it does cut down your left side. Other times it didn't, or it doesn't. He did it to me in Darlington a few weeks ago because he was tired of racing with me. And whether he did it on purpose, it doesn't matter. At some point you got to draw the line. So I don't care who he is or how long he's been doing it. I'm gonna stand up for myself and my team, and we'll go on down the road.
This happens a lot of places. You said things like this typically happen at Bristol, and then you went to affect the race ahead of them.
I just ran my line, and I'm super happy for Kyle, man. He's had a heck of a year. He's a good dude and a great race car driver. Deserves his accomplishments and deserves his success. So I'm happy for him, happy for Team Hendrick. Wish we could have got our Hooters Chevrolet in victory lane, but we'll try again next week.
On to Vegas. They're through to the next round after a dramatic Bristol.
I think this sets the tone for the rest of the playoffs. Both drivers advance.
So let's take a look at the racing between these two guys. This is earlier. They dive down in the corner, and Harvick slides up the track, gets in the left front of the 9. That cuts down the left front tire. And then later in the race, the 9 trying to get his lap back. Tries to repay the favor a little bit there, Jeff.
Yeah, and then ultimately, was Harvick saying, hey, he got up here and just took my line away, held me up. That's what let Larson catch me.
Yeah, he had those 4 new tires, and you'd think he'd drive away, but wasn't able to do that. And then they had this conversation. Man, I'd love to have been able to hear every word of that. I bet it was pretty good.
It's Bristol. I mean, it's just, it's hard racing. To pass somebody, you got to push the issue. You got to make things happen. And we've seen it year after year after year. Harvick sitting there, hadn't won in a long time. Hadn't seen Harvick look like that in a while. Heard him say he's ready to go after somebody.
This has become a common theme and a common scene in 2021. The 5-car in victory lane. This is the first time, though, in victory lane at Bristol. This checkered flag moment brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. Took him 13 tries, but Kyle Larson has made it to pretty coveted ground here. Victory lane, top of the building in the infield.
Let's take a look at how Larson was able to take the lead away. So he gets this great run off the top. The 4 went to the bottom of the racetrack right there. And Larson does a slide job right up here. It's a pretty good pass. 4 gets into the back bumper a little bit down the front straightaway. Turns him loose.
Yeah, that was aggressive racing. It's not a lot different than what happened with the 4 and the 9. Harvick went up the racetrack and got into the side of the 9 to make that pass, and it was pretty much the same thing there. Larson drove in there, got into the side of the 4.
Just hard racing, and it's what we expect from Bristol after especially watching the truck and Xfinity race and the fireworks there. I mean, this race here tonight delivered the same intensity.
Big smiles for Kyle Larson. Want to take a look at the playoff leaderboard now as we'll move on to Vegas, and that means 12 drivers. Their points reset at 3,000, and then all of the playoff points that they have gained throughout this season and even in the playoffs will be added to it. That's why we see Kyle Larson up there. He is seeded 1 as we go to the next round.
And you never know where all those points are going to benefit you the most. I mean, Kyle Busch and the 20 of Christopher Bell, both flat tires issues in the last run of this race. These playoff points you see right here are what carried them through the night. They could have easily been eliminated, and then William Byron just basically stepped up, did what he had to do. He ran 3rd. He had to run 3rd tonight to only be 2 points in. Very impressed. Listen, Hendrick had a chance of losing cars out of the playoffs as the conversation continues. This is live between Chase Elliott and Kevin Harvick. Well, Hendrick Motorsports got all 4 cars in, as well as Joe Gibbs Racing. So the battle's going to continue, and the battle between these two is going to continue as we go in the playoffs.
Water bottle in Kevin Harvick's hand, water bottle in Chase Elliott's hand, and the discussion continues. You can tell neither of them are happy with each other.
I know you've been in victory lane before, but not in the Cup Series, and I know you've been wanting to get a hold of one of these pieces of hardware and the sword. How does it feel to be here tonight?
On the left, Josh Jones works at
Kevin Harvick Incorporated.
Yeah. Business manager.
As upset as we saw Kevin Harvick when he got out of the car, slammed the helmet on the top of the car. This discussion has continued, and it doesn't look like it's over as far as the frustrations. They haven't been worked out. And how does that affect both drivers later on? Jordan Bianchi there, the beat reporters, NASCAR.
I think Harvick's saying, hey, look, man, I'm trying to have a conversation. Chase and I just have a conversation. I really don't want you videoing this. But Jordan doesn't care.
So they're actually going to, they're going to continue the conversation, but they want to do it apparently away from cameras. So they're going to go into the Napa Auto Parts hauler, which is that's pretty nice of Chase to open that up.
Say one thing, in the world of social media and tweets and these shots you see taken from behind the keyboard, I'm impressed that these two drivers right here, they're gonna have a conversation tonight. Now I have no idea what's going to be said or what's going to be solved, but I can appreciate what's going down in that 9 trailer right there. That's And I will say for both of them, this is important because they both have a chance to go win a championship.
Right.
We have seen these things derail championship opportunities before.
That's exactly right. The sword in the hand, Kyle Larson, that's part of the winning prize for getting to victory lane here at Bristol Motor Speedway. So Larson is the big winner tonight, winning the race and more playoff points. The battle, though, heating up between the 4 and the 9. Harvick, Chase Elliott.